now it should work.
They're saying I should voice Morden because I sound tired.
There we go.
Be fire.
Alright, I forgot a button. How is the audio levels for the people watching the stream?
Bro, do time set day. The view's about to be ruined.
Time of day. Alright, I think we're all set to go. I'll give it a minute just to make sure everything is working for everybody. But yeah, you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Alright, cool. So how we're gonna do this is we've gathered a bunch of questions from the forums, Twitter, just common questions we've seen like in Discord, stuff like that. So I have a giant spreadsheet with a bunch of questions. So we're gonna work through that, and then once those are all done, we're gonna start taking questions from like the chats and stuff, until we kind of run out of good questions to ask. But yeah, I guess with the first question, this is more for you, Vet. Will there be more modifiers added in the future, and are you planning to change any of the existing ones going forward?
Yeah, there will be more added, and no, I don't plan on changing the existing ones.
Gotcha. On a similar vein, what about awakenings? Like, are there any plans to kind of rework the existing awakenings, or like, how are those, kind of gonna look going forward?
So, the Savant Awakening was already changed for full release to be, instead of choosing a second magic or second fighting style, you get to imbue, like, everything. Like, you can imbue, like, magic into weapons, strength into weapons, but you can't imbue multiple things at the same time, which is what Savant's second awakening would be, like, imbue stacking. And the other thing, the other awakening that I plan to change is Oracle, which is gonna be, I think it's called like Oracle's Aura, where they just like get a little more effects and AoE. Because the the first awakenings are meant to be a little more simple, whereas like second awakenings are gonna be kind of crazy, like warrior is gonna get weapon reforging and stuff like that.
Cool, cool. All right. I guess the next question is more of like a lore one, relating to kind of like the curse stars thing that was added a few updates ago, and they're asking how many curses does the average kingdom have, and like are the stored curses they have taken into account?
um yeah, so the average kingdom has 2 to 3 curses, whether that be like like their rulers, their generals, or the storage.
Cool.
I think y'all will be very surprised to see which has the most in the end.
Oh yeah, they're saying in the chat to raise your mic volume, Galaga.
I turned it up. I can turn it up a little bit more, if they thinks needs it. Um, as for next question, as more islands appear, like in the next few seasons, stuff like that, are you planning to do more islands, kind of like Macronos, that have multiple secrets and like unique item sets and stuff, like as part of them to find?
Not really planning on it, but I could see like more islands like that being added. But Macrinaus is more like unique because it's gonna be involved later on for something. That's why it
Yeah,
has like
it's
so
very.
many
It's a.
different layers and stuff.
Cool.
I could see us doing more, but it would have to fit the narrative.
Sure. In the future, going forward, is there going to be the ability to kind of change your character's morality, or like the alignment, like their spirit and stuff like that? Like, because right now it's all determined by the Elias decision.
Probably not, because once that becomes a, like, once there's something in the story that changes from that, if you could change your, like, merciful or ruthless, it would be kind of weird. Like, it would break the story. I don't know. I don't really plan on adding a way for you to change that.
Gotcha. Do you think you'd ever add like a Game Pass type thing, or not really?
Probably not.
Gotcha. All right. This is like one of the big questions that's been getting asked since like AO and the roadmap dropped. The people want to know, how are Arcanium weapons gonna work? How's like the imbuement gonna work? Will like conjurers and the like be able to imbue like a magic on top of the one in the weapon? They want to know all about it. What do you got?
So on my plans, I have it to where Arcanium weapons come with 2 weapon skills and 2 spells on them, and the weapon skills would scale with both magic and weapon stats. Let me see. You can. So there would be an option to use the weapon to cast like your regular magic spells with it. And you can imbue other powers onto Arcanium weapons, but you'd only be able to imbue strength onto the weapon skills, not the spells.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully that'll keep him at bay for a while longer. Um, for clan building, are there more structures that you're planning on adding, things that didn't get in with the initial Empires update? And if so, do you know when you think you'd want to add those in? Like, would that be with full release, or further on the road?
I have no idea. I want to add more to clan building, but like there's so many other things that I have to add. I don't know if I'd ever have time to do that. Maybe like Muches or someone else could add more to it eventually.
Yeah, I know. I think Toby ended up building that higher tier of like wall and stuff that we never just had a chance to put in. So that might be something we could sneak in, even if it's not much.
There's a tons of variety we can do with it. I mean, it's a unique feature.
Cool. Will we be meeting, seeing, or learning more about like any of the characters from Arcane Adventures throughout AO? Like whether it's like lore tidbits, books, or interacting with the characters.
It depends on what character, but for the most part, no, because since like Arcane Adventures takes place on the complete opposite side of the world, like not many characters from there would be known here. Like in game, Theos and Acheron are mentioned more as like kind of folklore characters in the War Seas. Like people
Yeah,
aren't
they
even
become
sure
kind
if
of like
they
fabled creatures.
existed.
Gotcha. And then as a follow up for that, a while back you mentioned ideas for in the far future there to kind of be like Elysium raid boss type stuff, including some of those characters like Theos. Are those still something you think you'd want to work in at some point, or is that something that's more on the back burner?
Yeah, definitely. We want to do those as soon as possible. The first one, at
That's,
least.
they're going to be so fun.
Awesome. Um, so in the next couple Cs, like as level ups get higher, are there new types of guns that are going to be added? And like if so, are there going to be like more not futuristic, but like more advanced technology with these guns, or where do you think that's kind of at?
Um, the Thorn Empire has pretty advanced guns, but in terms of like new weapon types for guns, I'm not really sure. I might
I
add
know
like
we have
a
the
hand cannon type of thing eventually, but
yeah.
I don't know, weapons have so much to them already, like in terms of different types and skills that I don't know. I'm not really super keen on adding more types anytime soon, just because there's already so many.
Fair, fair. Do you have any plans to kind of change up fishing at all, like whether it be the mini game or the actual fish itself? And in the future, do you think there'd ever be new types of fish added or variants, kind of like how Massive was added after release?
Probably not. I think fishing is kind of like a done feature besides like if there were any new like modifiers or something added like how massive was or like new armor sets and stuff like that. But I think fish is kind of just like it's going to stay how it is.
There are plenty. There's so many.
Hmm. The people want more fish, though. They gotta make getting Master Angler even harder.
Oh, brother.
um, so this is a question about the fracture. What kind of like effects did it have like on Earth? Like did it have like large scale effects on like the size and shape of Earth, or is it still mostly the same with like the surface kind of changed up? Like how's the geography looking?
It didn't change the size of the planet at all. It mainly just completely changed the surface and like obviously made the dark sea, which is just, like most of the planet is just covered in like dense magic energy and clouds and rain. But yeah, the like size of the earth is mostly the same. It's just like the surface is pretty much all islands from like fragmented continents.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it still messed up the axis, like how we previously said, but there was definitely a lot of tectonic issues with it.
Yeah, definitely. Another question pertaining to weapons. This one's about artisan weapons. Are they still planned? Because not much has been said about them, and if so, kind of like what's their gimmick? Like what makes them special compared to other weapons?
So, Artisan Weapons was the name we originally made for what would be the Warrior Second Awakening weapons, which they're not going to be called that anymore because the whole concept was changed, and now it's called Weapon Reforging, which you're going to be able to take any weapon in the game and like reforge it out of a material. So, for example, you could take like a regular sword and reforge it to be made out of like I don't know, like dragon bone or something, and it would change its stats.
We were also toying with the idea of putting gemstones in them for magic
Yeah.
capacity, but functionally, we're not sure how that would play yet.
Gotcha. Next question's about the faction systems for the in-game ones, the Navy and Assassins. Do you think there's ever going to be like a rework of any sorts for them? Mainly people are kind of concerned about like hitting higher ranks in the Navy, like without having to grind the renown leaderboard. I think they might be like referring to something kind of like how AA had the like honor system for the AG.
Um, I don't have any plans to change any of that stuff right now, but once there's like the PvE clans and stuff with the PvP option, I think maybe I'd think of a way to like allow people to level up or rank up in there without renown. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
While we're on the topic, is there anything you can really talk about for your plans for the PvE clans? I don't think that's been talked about too much yet.
Yeah, so originally in like news and stuff, I said PvE clans weren't planned and like they probably won't be a thing for a while. But I did sit and plan out how they would work and stuff. And let me go to my notes so I could better explain. So the PvE clans are gonna be called guilds, and instead of being around like infamy and stuff, the tiers of them would be more so like a prestige. And to rank up the clan, you'd have to do different tasks in it. Or to rank up the guild, you'd have to do different tasks in it, like opening sealed chests and different kind of PvE activities, rather than it using infamy.
I've got a
But,
bird on my shoulder.
Let me see.
I name drop one.
So I did plan for them to also still be able to build on islands, but they wouldn't be able to build with defenses, and they wouldn't gain infamy from it. It would be more so just for them to, like, farm and stuff.
Gotcha. Next question, kind of about the main story. Are we gonna meet any more characters that are gonna join the main group, or is it kind of just gonna stick as you, Morden, Iris, and Aviro? And any hints as to when we might see them?
We're definitely gonna add, like, more characters like that kind of stick around, but there won't be, like, too many more.
Yeah, your group is very unique, and people like you, but also the talent of the people that you're surrounded with is hard to come by. But the answer as to when is sooner than you'd expect, just not as much as you'd hope.
Cool. Another weapons question. Will knights or like a weapon spirit build end up with specialized weapons, kind of like how conjurers are going to have like Arcanium weapons, warlords get their strength weapons? Is there going to be anything that kind of bridges that gap for them, or not really?
In the future, yeah, there's gonna be spirit weapons that are like actual weapons. So it would be like a sword that is capable of like channeling spirit energy. So you would require spirit and weapon stat to use that.
Gotcha. Next question. Are we ever going to be able to join a nation's military as like a joinable in-game faction, or is that kind of off the table due to the story?
Yeah, probably not due to the story.
But there are
Yeah,
some
that would also be really restrictive.
there are some other upcoming like in-game joinable stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for it.
Anything you want to say about those right now, or not really?
I'd love to name drop one of them.
Which one?
The one we were just talking about in DMs or in Gatekeepers.
Oh yeah. You can name drop that if you want.
So I know y'all have been speculating over what and exactly what the Seekers of Sight does, but you will be able to join them coming soon and see what they're all about.
Ominous. Another question. This one was pointed directly for Tech. What are you planning to do once the AO storyline is kind of wrapped up and finished?
Me and Vetex have the concept of doing books over the Arcane, I guess, verse. It's weird to say it in that way, but it's mainly just over the aspects of, or the story parts of Arcane Odyssey and Arcane Adventures, and I think that's where we're probably going to go next. Because we'd love to just put that in a more... We love the story, and we'd love to put it in a more clear and concise format where people are able to genuinely see
what I want
these
to do in the
players are
future.
thinking.
Cool. Well, I think a lot of people who are excited about the lore will look forward to that. Next question. In regards to lost and ancient magics, are the requirements going to be based off of which build you are, overall level requirements, or like stat points invested, or how is that kind of going to work? Like, how is it going to change between a mage or like a conjurer or whatever?
I'm thinking it's going to be a magic stat requirement, but that might change. But I also saw the other question, which was like can hybrids and savants learn lost and ancient magics? And originally, I was gonna say no, but I think they will be able to learn those, like all of those,
Gotcha. You think it'd just be
but
a bit later
probably
on?
at like way later levels than like mages would.
Gotcha. Next question's about like where AO's at right now. Is there anything that you've implemented into the game that you'd really like to rework if you just had like the time to bang it out without like the pressures of an update dropping?
Mm,
A good one.
I don't know. I can't really think of anything.
I think maybe the best we can say for that is maybe the Dark Sea, but I wouldn't even say that's a rework. That's more of just a content addition that we want to do at the end of Nimbus
Yeah.
Sea.
Cool. While we're on the topic of the Dark Sea, is there anything cool coming with full release, or is most of that stuff going to be waiting for like the end of Nimbus Sea?
We are hopefully adding dragons to the Dark Sea in full release and satyrs, but um, it's more of like a we'll see thing.
Gotcha. And there's also all the animals and things; those who have Dark Sea
Oh
variants
yeah.
as well. Um, so at least some enemy variety while you're in there. Um, this could kind of go for either of you, but do you have an estimate of like what the population of the Bronze Sea would be, and I guess Nimbus Sea as well? Um,
I was
Hmm.
thinking about that a bit, and I honestly have no idea because like it's hard to say lore-wise like how big these locations would be and like how populated they would be.
Definitely not over 1 million. Definitely not. I think more than 10, or maybe in the 10,000s range, maybe 100,000s. But that's with like the whole sea. But that's hard.
yeah, I know
Yeah, I
some of
don't
the
know.
islands have like little population numbers, like estimates on them, but I don't know how what that all sums up to. And obviously, there's missing islands and stuff because they're not there yet. But um, next question was regarding a feature that you've talked about in the past, waterproofing on magic. You talked about like for things like fire magic, which would be able to eventually be cast underwater. Do you know when that type of feature would be added?
I have no idea. That's kind of just like whenever there's time.
Gotcha. Is there like a level range that you think that would kind of sit within, or like the player's ready for it? It's just when it can get added.
Yeah, it would probably be like level 130, so it would be like around this level.
Gotcha.
We already have plans for who teaches it as well, so
Gotcha.
just whenever it can be worked in.
Um, for the Dark Sea, do you think there's gonna be any unique food ingredients that would ever be used for cooking? And would they give any new effects or anything like that?
Besides like the animal meat from the new Dark Sea enemies, probably not.
Gotcha. Um, Next question was about the planned book series. Will it only cover stuff that's like found in game, or would you kind of have the room to expand a lot more in detail? I guess they're asking like, is everything in the books going to be able to be found out through the game, or not really?
Probably. The way I kind of picture it is, it would just be like the AO story through the POV of the main character, which is like the player in the game. Except it would be like obviously a unique character, not just like a ambiguous thing like the
Yeah,
player is in the game.
I think it'll have more details regarding them, but I think almost everything regarding the world would probably be able to be learned through the game. Um, but if there's any finer details, they'll definitely be in the book, and there may be some stuff that's in there that we may not be able to explore in the game. But I think for the most part, it should be relatively the same.
Yeah, I think something in the like if and when we ever make the books, I would want to do is like telling certain parts of the story through different characters' point of view, like Morden getting the death curse and stuff like that.
I think it's time for us to move locations.
Yeah, sure. Muchez, do you want to beam us over to the next spot? Ooh. I'm over there. I don't have everything loaded in yet, though.
Did you guys
There
fall?
we go. Nope,
never
I
mind,
didn't
you guys
fall.
here.
It just wasn't loaded. Cool. Tech, do you want to talk a little bit about where we're at now?
Like location specifically, or what the spire is?
Whatever you want to say.
Well, this is Snow Riven. It's one of the higher sky islands in part of Sky Hall. It's very cold up here because of the altitude. So they have this large central fire in the center just to warm up the populace and try and keep the the streets relatively snow free, so people don't slip or cargo can get through.
Gotcha.
This is one of my favorite areas.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing it get built. I'm always excited to see snow areas. They're cool. Anyways, back to the Q&A. Next one's about kind of relating to Lost Magics again. How will Hecate shards be obtained? And then maybe for people who don't like stalk the Trello, what are Hecate shards?
So those are gonna be items that you find through different activities. I'm thinking probably like more difficult activities, like probably dark sealed chests or like fort raid rewards. And it's going to be an item in the inventory that when you use it, it lets you like mutate one of your magics to a lost magic.
Cool. Another question about the Dark Sea. With agility kind of getting the axe a little bit and being reworked into the gems, do you think Darksea Island height would ever be reduced?
Probably not. I would rather just add better ways for you to climb it than reduce it.
Yeah. Could be cool if maybe
Agreed.
you have some like as like a new structure, maybe include like glider spots where you could like take a glider to get higher up.
How do we tell them?
Next question. Tech, this might be good for you. Did Wintervale have any other territories aside from the capital and Gloam ruins prior to its destruction?
It was the sole major force in its sea for a long time since its founding. So it probably had as many as Ravenna then took over. But in terms of locations that we haven't seen, then maybe a few islands that aren't added yet. But other than that, probably not. This is probably as big as it gets.
Gotcha. Next question's about armor stats in general. Do you think we're gonna see more additions to armor stats in the future, kind of like how resistance and regen and armor piercing and all that were added post-release?
Definitely in the future, like as the levels get higher, there would probably be more stats added.
Gotcha. Next question's also talking about secrets for larger islands. Now that there's kind of been a precedent set for having multiple secrets on an island, do you think you'd ever want to go back to places like Ravenna or Samaria and add more secrets in? Or do you think they'll kind of go untouched?
Probably not. I like how those islands
Yeah.
are right now. I don't think going back and like force adding more secrets would be good.
Fair.
I think we're just happy with what they have. It makes sense for their lore. I think any additions would probably go majorly unnoticed by the general player base since they've already explored and been through these locations. That type of effort would probably be best left to future locations.
definitely valid. For a lore question here, does Mount Olympus still exist? And if so, is there any potential for it to be visited or like us to learn more about it throughout AO?
Um, I'm thinking it probably still exists, like the location where it was, but it's mostly ruins. And if you can visit it, probably not. I don't know. We don't really have any plans for that.
It would have to work in a specific way, and the fall of Olympus is such a large piece in the Arcane storyline that I'm not sure if we'd be able to due to the magic radiation there. It might not be inhabitable, but if it makes sense, then maybe.
Fair. This one's for you, Vet. What feature in the future, could be soon, could be far out? What are you most excited to add and get into the game, when it ever comes up?
As of right now, probably the fleet system that's planned or the talent quests, which those are more of like a newer thing that I don't even think is on the Trello yet, which is there's going to be a few new unique NPCs that appear throughout the world, and if you do their quest chain, you get like unique abilities from it, and you'd only be able to have one set of the abilities equipped at one time. And we have like a bunch of cool like new lore things planned that come with them and stuff. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
Cool. As for the stat system, like just the general level up scheme, do you think there's ever going to be a point where you'd want to change that up, or do you like how it is now with like investing into the individual stats?
Um, Probably not. I don't really see us ever changing that.
Yeah. Definitely think it's kind of a staple at this point. It might have more feedback or blowback than good if it did get touched at this point. Next question's about the Myriad, and how in it there's a lot of the books that are on the bookshelves and stuff, marked as work in progress and things like that. Eventually, later on in the story, will we be able to go back to the Myriad and read some of those books, and like get the exposition, or is they gonna stay like unreadable?
Some of them will stay unreadable, like the ones that say work in progress because like the character is still alive or whatever. But I think some of those books would eventually be readable.
Yeah. The work in progress stands for Randall working on the book.
Let's see here. Do you think you'd ever add sets of items that have randomized stats at each level instead of like having a flat amount given? I guess this is more towards like the quality of like an item or something like that.
Probably not. I don't know, that would be weird.
Yeah, I don't think that'd fit with AO real well. Um,
I could see people being very upset over that.
yeah, having to grind for the perfect triple S rank hunter armor or whatever.
Ass.
Um, uh, do you think you'd ever rename spirit weapons, or are they gonna stay as is?
Nah, probably not. We did like try to consider different names and stuff, but I just think nothing really fit them as well.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Plus, I think it's just what they're like in verse be colloquially named as.
yeah, I remember the brainstorming sessions that went on in tester chat, and they did not bear fruit. Um, Next question's about dead revival magic, and similarly, the enchantment magic that the alchemists use in game. How are these like magics working, and why are they separate from other magic types?
So they are still like magic types, kind of like how fire and stuff is, but it's more of like an energy that has a specific use. Like, so anyone that can use enchanting magic, like the alchemist NPCs, can learn like regular magic, which is why like Anazor was able to become a mage. And so yeah, like enchanting magic, it has like the energy of it has the affinity to enhance the energy touching the material that's being enchanted. And yeah, I'm trying to like see where I am in my notes. So yeah, enchanting magic is like pretty hard to master, which is why the alchemist NPCs give random enchantments. And dead revival magic is similar to enchanting, but it has more of like an affinity for control. And these magics, like because their energy is like kind of meant for a certain purpose. Like for example, you could use like an enchanting magic blast, but it would be like way less effective compared to if you use like a fire magic blast. Since like the energy is more so like, hey, I'm grabbing my cat. Oh my god. All right, yeah. So Dead Revival in its basic form, you can only control a corpse kind of like a puppet, and like it would just be a corpse, but in Arcane Adventures, hang on, I'm sorry, my cats are like all over me.
No worries, they were watching NPCs square up.
So yeah, in Arcane Adventures, Acheron slash Durza, his Dead Revival was able to work like extremely long distances and also like reconstruct the bodies of the people he was reviving, which is like a unique thing to him, but it's kind of a spoiler. But it will be explained later in like the AO lore because there are other people with this kind of special trait.
Gotcha. And then just to touch on what you said before about how like the alchemists can't really control like what enchantment goes on items and stuff, and it being hard to master. Do you think later on there'd ever be like alchemist NPCs that have higher skill levels that could roll the chance for harder to obtain enchantments, like the exotic tier ones, or will they only ever give rare?
Probably not, just because that would kind of defeat like gameplay farming stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. So next question's about Skyhall. How much exploration and like content is there in it? And then they directly asked about comparing it to Macronauts because that's another one that has a lot of exploration.
Um, I haven't really like fully explored Skyhall like in normal gameplay yet, so I can't really say comparatively like the difference. But I'd say it's probably like almost the same or a little bit less. Because like a lot
Yeah,
of these places are like just towns, so they would be more so for like quests than like secrets.
there are secrets. It's just in a far less quantity than Macronauts and less depth to them. But I like the exploration, and I think it's really cool in the way we did it for Skyhall.
Yeah, definitely less dense too. Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Skyhall's the biggest island so far, right?
Yep,
Yeah. Next
it dwarfs
question
Samaria.
is about weapons, and specifically, would there ever be weapon like vanity slots? Or is that not something you'd ever consider?
No, I don't ever want to do weapon vanity. I think it would be very stupid.
Fair enough. Um, so I think this one kind of got touched on a little bit before, but there another question was about the technologies that are kind of present in the war seas, and asking which kingdom or faction is the most technologically advanced.
Probably the Thorn Empire.
Yeah,
Just
Thorn probably has
overall.
the most money.
Next question is about the storyline for full release. Based on where the story's going to end up, will the players still be spawning in Sky Hall, or is it going to move? The story going to move past Sky Hall by the time full release is out?
Probably Samaria is where you would spawn when full release is out.
Gotcha. Next question was about spirit investment. So now that the Oracle class is fully enabled, are NPCs like rivals and like just the random like bandits and Atlanteans and stuff? Will they be able to be spirit builds and like get access to spirit like imbuement and have spirit weapons of their own?
No, actually, because the way spirit energy works is people who are not special in the way that the character is can only use their spirit energy if they have a spirit weapon. And the spirit weapons are like so rare that any NPC that has them is going to be like a mini boss or something. So the random NPCs and stuff will never use any spirit weapons or energy.
Yes, on the topic of mini bosses, I know there's been a few that have been added for the purpose of like spirit weapons. Do you think there are going to be many more coming with full release, or have we about hit how many are planned?
I think we've about hit as many as I wanted. There might be like one or two more.
Yeah, I think there's two that we have yet to announce fully, but I think we're nearing the number that we wanted for full release in terms of spirit weapons.
Cool. Do you think the spirit weapon players are going to be able to have good variety with their builds? Because I know Muchas has been cooking on their abilities and stuff, so they're all completely
Yeah, I
fleshed out,
think
I
it'll be
think, right?
pretty good compared to other builds.
That'll probably be my first route whenever I go back to like a fresh file, honestly.
Next question's about insanity in the Dark Sea, I assume is what it's referring to, but I guess also the hot spots like in Accursius Keep and stuff. Is the insanity magically induced? And, like, if it is, like, a magical mental affliction, would that mean that there's, like, the ability for mages to learn how to, like, use, like, mental type spells on other people?
So the way insanity works is it's when there's like a dense amount of magic energy in the air and you're like breathing it in, it's kind of like entering your body and like affecting your mind. And so about a mage or someone being able to control people's minds using that, not necessarily like they wouldn't be able to control somebody, but if a mage or like a curse user was like experienced enough, they could inflict insanity with their magic energy, like through an attack or whatever, if they have like enough knowledge of the intention and stuff.
Cool. Do you think anything like that would ever be featured in AO, or is that just, like, an out there lore possibility?
Maybe in the future.
Perchance?
um, so we talked about the Hecate shards before, and how they would like mutate the magics. When that happens, is the magic it turns into gonna be like randomized? Are you gonna be able to pick the magic? And on that, will lost magics and stuff have variants? And if so, will you be able to like pick between the variants?
Yeah, so the options you get would be dependent on what magic you're mutating, and you would just be able to choose which magic you're mutating to and the variation of it.
Cool. Next question is, do you have any plans to improve the early game and kind of help out like the new players, get them immersed into the game easier with full release? And if not, like, do you think you'd do that later on?
Yeah, definitely. I already have a bunch of notes on like ways to improve the early experience and like get people more into the game easier. like recently we added the guidebook feature, which you like unlock different entries in it, and it explains like each feature more in depth than just the little tutorial pop-ups.
Do you want me to pull that up on the stream for them to kind of get a little bit of a look at that, or I don't? Is that not finished yet?
You
Be
can. I
careful.
don't know if it would error. It
Just be
might.
careful on the boss tab.
I have not. Let's see. Is it logbooks? I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's all these different tips and like tutorials about all these different things in game. Mine's mostly empty because I haven't played TU too much since this update was getting worked on. But yeah. Let's see. That was kind of answered before. Once you have a lost magic, are you going to be able to re-mutate it, like if you regathered Hecate shards, or once you get it, it's kind of locked in unless you used like a Prometheus acrimony to reset?
I honestly don't know yet how it's gonna work to change your lost magics. So it's like pretty far away still.
Gotcha. So next question's about existing skills in game, so like magic and fighting style ones. Would you ever add like the ability, like more options for them, or do you think you'd kind of save that for like variants of the move that would be like rare spells or whatever?
Uh, yeah, I don't think we would ever add more options to the existing spells. I think it would just complicate the balancing of them a lot more.
Hmm. Do you think you'd
I
ever
think it
add?
also just
Oh, good.
sorry. I think it also just makes sense for it to be a new ability, as the intent of your spell would be different. So it being more complex in that way would make sense to just be something rare.
Yeah. I was also gonna say, do you think we'd ever see new like magic shapes or embodiment shapes or like animations or whatever? Or do you think you'd never even bother with that?
Probably for new shapes and stuff like that.
Cool. Let's see. This question was kind of touched on before, I'd say, so we'll skip that one. Are instruments still planned, and if so, when do you think they'd get added?
They're still planned. I have no idea when we would have time to add them.
Gotcha. Next question is also about modifiers. Do you think you'd ever add another one that has like an equivalent to Atlantean essence where it can be applied to any item versus like having to get dug
Mm,
up?
maybe, but I don't think for the treasure chart modifiers, I'm not sure if there will ever be a way to just apply those to anything.
Yeah, I think
I don't
that's
think I
fair.
would want that.
It also take away from stuff like the fort raids and stuff like that, which were the other ways to get them.
Yeah.
Um, Next question's about magic variants. How do those work in the lore? Like, are characters able to swap between the like colors of their magic? Or do they get to like decide on it, or do they just kind of start casting spells one day and
So when you first learn a magic, it's set at one color variation, which is kind of dependent on like the person's personality. But when you get more experience with like intention and stuff, you're able to just change its color depending on what you would want. Like with each spell, I mean. And depending on the magic, it has like a set amount of colors it can be changed to due to like the energy type and stuff.
does it work similarly for curse users? Like, are they able to just kind of flip between it, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like they can just change the color of it depending on what they want.
Do you think you'd ever revisit the like clash system and add something in like AA had for like ultimate attacks to make it more dynamic, or do you think it'll stay as kind of a simple like
I
equation type
don't
deal?
think so because the issue with AA type clashing is it lasted like a very long time, and it just basically turned fights into a mini game when it happened. Like, I don't know if there's a good way to add that and not have it be very intrusive.
Next question was kind of, I guess, a recap. What is the agility stat gonna be replaced with on items, like for ones that have it already?
So it's replaced with a new stat called accuracy, which it changes like the direction your projectile attacks go to make them kind of biased towards a target. And the more accuracy you have, like the more the projectile would kind of move towards a target on its own.
So next question is about lore exposition. Uh, as the story kind of progresses, do you think there's going to be more, less, or like a similar amount of these points in the story where the character kind of gets a bunch of information about the world thrown at them?
It depends on what the player is being told, but I don't know. Because for the existing points in the story where it's kind of a lore dump, it's kind of like an important thing that needs to be explained to the player, like how curse users work, or awakenings, or like the history of Wintervale or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it'll become less frequent, but I don't know if it'll ever completely stop, depending on, like
Yeah, it
VTech
just
said, what needs to
depends
be explained.
on the context.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see it getting a bit more sparse as things go on because there's just less stuff to learn as like the story
Yeah.
kind of comes to a close.
Like, I think the last big thing that would be lore dumped is at the end of the Nimbus Sea, I plan to have like a long cutscene where like a character kind of tells you more about the history of the world directly, like during the story. But that's pretty much the only one that's like planned to be a lore dump.
Sure. Next question here kind of refers to what you were saying before about like lost and ancient magic obtainments, like the requirements and stuff. Are ancient magics like kind of the height of magics, and I guess this kind of applies to other builds as well. Will that equivalency be able to be gotten by hybrid builds, or will that like be like will the top tier of each one be locked to the pure builds just like by stat or whatever?
Uh, I think every build would have some equivalent of ancient magics. Yeah, I don't know. It's like so
If
far
they're-
away, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fair.
it's just their own version of the height of power for that route of combat, I guess.
Do you think like I guess the building off that a little bit, like hybrid builds like the conjurer type deal, would they ever get like an ancient magic mixed with whatever the equivalent like weapon version is, or would they just get like a high tier version of like an Arcanium weapon or something like that without the ancient stuff involved?
Uh, I don't know. Probably like a high tier Arcanium weapon.
Gotcha. Next question's about boss skills. Will any of like the existing boss skills that are in the game ever be available by players? And the specific one that was asked about was like the Maria tentacle attack.
Probably not. Like, it would have to work as like the other spell types do, where they have like a decent amount of uses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the Maria tentacle would basically just be like a placed explosion. Like, it wouldn't really be worth making a whole new spell for that.
If anything,
Yeah.
make it like a shape or something on that type of spell. Um, so this is a lower question here. Why did Prometheus create like the curses, and like what was his motivation behind doing that?
So he didn't create the curses of his like own free will. after the gods were like defeated, the winning side, which was like Arthur and Poseidon, they forced Prometheus to create the curses so that humans would have the full power of magic. And that's the reason they wanted curses. Like, Prometheus didn't choose to create them.
Sure.
It was mainly humanity didn't want to be oppressed anymore in the way that they were. So with them gaining that sort of power, they would have, I guess, the freedom to choose through strength. But I don't know if that goes well.
Yeah. So next question, also about Arcanium weapons, but also weapon casting. What's kind of the difference between those two features, if any? And would like the Arcanium weapons need to be weapon cast, or like how does that work?
So weapon casting, I don't know if that's even like still an idea. It was gonna be like in the current plans, it's just you can change a setting to automatically cast your magic spells with an Arcanium weapon. Galaga?
Where did he
You
go?
good?
Should I just read it for him?
Oops. Had my
Well, is the stream still up?
Yeah, no, sorry. I accidentally hit I was reading the next question, but you guys didn't get it. My mic was muted. Next question was, are there any more big community events planned, kind of like the art contest where, the winners got to be involved, like making like the Discord banner and stuff that was used like on the in-game thumbnails, things like that?
We don't have any more planned, but yeah, it'd be fun to do that again.
Yeah, we'd love to do more stuff like that. I think everyone enjoyed being a part of it, and I just liked involving the community in such a large way. I think the only one we really have technically planned is a much smaller version, and that's at 12k followers, since 12 is the number of Olympian gods. But that's it that I think we have planned.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would be down to help out with more art contest type things. I'm just not sure when, where, what, and like what the prizes would be and stuff like that. But I think the first one went pretty well. I think a lot of people liked it, so well received, I think. Next question is about did the gods that made blessings still have a degree of control over them and like the user of their blessing, or not really? And then maybe for people who don't know, what is a blessing?
So before in lore, it was called I think external curses or internal curses or something like that. Or oh yeah,
I
it
think they
was
went from external
experimental
to
curses.
experimental. Yeah,
But
they changed names from that to that.
Yeah, recently we just decided to name them blessings since like they didn't have an inherent downside and they were given directly by the gods. So I don't think the gods would have control over the person with the blessing, but they could take it away if they wanted.
Yeah, that makes sense. Next question is about like your update schedule. Why do you choose to do full release as like one giant update versus like a more frequent thing where you parse in these features over time?
So I think because like a lot of things were getting changed fundamentally, I didn't want to do it in multiple smaller updates. I'd rather just do like all these big changes I wanted in one update so that like when people hop back into the game for the first time, it's like completely changed and fresh and stuff rather than like every update there being some like big change that people have to get used to again. Plus, I think doing it in one big update just makes it more like anticipated, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. And just like from the few times I've hopped on TU and like with a couple weeks spaced out, every time I get on something's completely different. So I think it's definitely best to kind of let everybody relearn it all at once. Next question, and this one might be a spoiler, so feel free to just pass on it. Will we ever learn what happens like pre-amnesia at the start of the story? Or is that kind of outside the scope and not really relevant to like the rest of the story?
Yes and no. Yes and no, in my opinion.
Yeah, in the game version, it's kind of hard because, like, your character is, like, it can be anything, but I think if we ever write the books, it would be more explored. Like, you may learn something about your character's history in the story of the game, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, fair enough. Next question here was, have you guys planned out any, some, or like all of the future magics and fighting styles that'll be added, like the Losts and stuff like that?
Not all of them. It's kind of just like a list that we add to whenever we get a good idea. Like, there's not going to be a set amount of fighting styles or lost and ancient magics.
And then from the person who asked this question, they had a very specific request if you could tell them what one of Shadow's Lost variants are going to be.
Darkness. I just named the first generic one that came into my head. There you go.
Hang on, that requires one from me too. What do we got? Dark Rain. That's all.
Cool. Next question's about the sunken and lost items. How often are you guys planning on like introducing new sets? Is it like once per sea, a little more frequently than that? How's that kind of planned to space out?
Pretty much once per sea from now on.
So does that mean we're expecting a new set of those for Nimbus, or is like the warrior and diplomat sets kind of the Nimbus one?
Yeah, those would be the Nimbus ones. There probably won't be new ones for a while now.
Yeah, fair enough. How many awakenings overall are there gonna be?
Only 2. But after the second awakening, builds will start to get different stuff. Like, instead of being dependent on awakenings, you would start to get stuff like lost magics.
Right, okay. How many islands do you think that the finished Nimbus Sea is gonna have?
Let me see.
Check out the map.
Yeah. So right
That's more
now
than I
there's
remember.
22 planned islands if you don't count all the Skyhall islands. That's the planned number for Nimbus.
Alright.
But there will probably be more small ones added.
Yeah, just to like fill in the gaps and maybe some wilderness, but
There's citizens fighting on the stream.
Yeah, they've been watching the battles. I got a close-up of one of them before. You guys think we're ready to swap to the next location?
Yeah. I was gonna say wait till the fight ends, but it ended.
Alright.
beam us to the memorial
Beam us
Mutations.
up. Alright.
I was ready.
Yeah, you had it on standby. Do you guys want to talk at all about what this is, or leave this for like them to figure out once?
Nah.
Alright.
They can figure it out.
I'll leave them to figure
with
it
the
out.
Story.
Alright.
But I will pay my respects.
Where's the salute? There we go. Alright. Next question is, when full release is done, do you have an estimate of what the level cap is going to be looking like by the time the story's wrapped up for it?
Probably 180, if I had to guess.
Next question. Will we ever get, are there legendary variants of, spirit weapons out there, and, what would those kind of look like?
Yeah, there are. Those would kind of be the ancient magic build equivalent for oracles. And so, the higher level spirit rights, I guess, would kind of be more so weather related stuff, like making natural lightning strike down and stuff like that.
Gotcha, that sounds sick. Let's see. So this one's talking about kingdoms and alignments, which was something that was kind of planned earlier and then got pushed back. Is it something that you are still planning on doing? And if so, do you know when? Is it something you'd squeeze in with full release, after full release, or just something?
Probably not anymore, honestly, because I think with everything that's going to be added in full release, I think adding the alignment idea would kind of just overcomplicate everything and just add a bit too much monotonous grinding with how it was planned. But I think the things that were planned from it are gonna get re-added to a different feature that we're still planning. So I don't know. But yeah, kingdom alignment is probably not ever gonna come anymore.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get the rewards that you'd want, but just not through the original means that it was planned for.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there's a Sky Hall NPC that just walked by that looked bar for bar like Naviro in Cirrus Town. That was.
Whereas on his training arc, leave him be.
Next question was about so treasure charts and the Lost set. Is there anything that you'd ever add as a counterpart to the sunken weapons for the Lost set to be dug up?
Probably not, because weapons already get a bunch of weapons from different sources. I don't think adding another one would be fun at all.
And you think you'd ever add I don't know, maybe a unique spirit weapon or something like that for a different build down there, or not really?
Maybe. I don't know.
Could get some earthy themed one. Next question's do we think they'll ever see more MMO inspired features or game mode types that are kind of raids, dungeons that would allow people to work together in a large group? I guess this is kind of asking more things, group environment, kind of like the fort system.
I don't have anything planned like that right now, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, I definitely think more stuff like that would be cool, because I feel like AO's at its best when it's a bunch of people just together doing something.
Yeah, we did add the clan war and naval war game modes, but we still haven't even tested those yet. We need to get together and test those sometime.
Well, we did get that new batch of testers, so it'll be a bit easier to fill up a TU server now. But yeah,
To the eternal mines they go.
Maybe we could send out a tweet or do a YouTube showcase or something once that's all working. Next question is, will we ever be able to use magic attacks without the circles?
No. You can't, in lore, you can't use, that much magic energy to, that degree without a magic circle.
What about...
Yeah, the circle's kind of the catalyst that allows you to be able to manifest your intent.
Would we ever see a way to customize the circle, or are they kind of set in stone how they are?
Maybe actually. That was something we were considering for full release, is magic circle design packs or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be in full release, but maybe in the future.
Next question is about so like aside from the fish and the upcoming animals, will there ever be any more types of like non-humanoid enemies in the game?
Yeah, so one that is likely being added in for release is dragons. And we also want to add more like mythological creatures you can fight, like satyrs and stuff like that.
Cool. You mentioned satyrs a few times. For the people who don't know what their kind of shtick is, anything you can say about those?
So they would use spirit weapons and you'd fight them in the Dark Sea. And honestly, I don't remember. I think they drop stuff that like lets you change your character's size permanently. But yeah, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, and I believe that they're designed as a half goat, half humanoid, as you know they are seen in
Yeah.
Greek mythology, and they worship the deceased minor god Pan, god of the
It,
wild.
you mentioned you have spirit weapons. Would those be like would those be obtainable for players or not really?
Yeah, they would be obtainable as drops.
Cool. Um, did you ever plan to revisit existing bosses and update them? Either like redesign them, change out their drops, add more, or even their move sets?
Uh, no. I think most bosses, like visuals, get automatically updated anyway. Like, for example, Elias's lightning got changed when lightning got updated, so that's like the most that we would ever do.
Yeah. Let's see.
Bro, stop spamming the chat.
Let's see. How do you feel now that like Skyhall's done? In terms of like how satisfied are you with it and like its involvement in the story and stuff?
I honestly think it turned out really good. Like, pretty much exactly or better than I expected. Like, the story and the location.
What would you say was
I
like the
love the way the characters are done. I love the intricacies and how the royal families work with also the noble families of Skyhall. I think there's a lot of intricacies that can be found, and I like that.
yeah? How do you like? What do you think went not right like right in the development of this kind of area? Like, what do you think made it so good?
Uh, I think we had like a lot of time to plan it,
Yeah,
and like the various different characters allowed it to be a little more complex, I guess.
yeah, that's definitely fair.
The setting and location is just so unique that it could just, like, I guess, stand out on its own.
Definitely agree there. I think visually, I haven't explored it too much, but I remember when it was getting built, you guys had, I think, 3 or 4 people working on the building of it at different parts. So everybody kind of put their heads together to make this really look really cool. And I definitely think a lot of the full release features, like the NPCs and stuff walking around, make it feel a lot more alive compared to like what it would look like otherwise. It should be a ghost town. Let's see here. Next question is: will there ever be like a scythe weapon, specifically an Arcanium scythe? Because they were asking if the AA magic scythe will ever return.
Maybe someday.
Let's see. This question was already answered. Um, will there like be more character customization options added in for release, like new hairs, facial hairs, names, body types, etc.? Because like a lot of like new hair and stuff like that has been used for NPCs, and so like will that ever be added for players to use?
It would depend on if like any other dev has time to add that stuff, because I probably will not ever have time for that.
Fair enough.
But I am open to more stuff like that being added.
Yeah, definitely something I could look into because I know Astral's made a few hairs and stuff lately, so we could look at getting those in. Um, do you think you'd ever change how like cannonballs interact with players? Because at some point they were like unable to damage people, and then they became able to, and then they got their hitboxes shrank a bunch, and then like they do like no damage and stuff. So will it ever be like added back in?
Yeah, I saw that question and I actually looked, and they are meant to damage players right now. So I guess if they don't, the hitbox is probably just too small.
Yeah.
Like it's probably just a bug.
Next question is about the Bronze Sea. Is it finished, or is there still more for you to add? Because we did have that huge increase in the number of islands and stuff a few updates ago. So, where's that at?
I think there's just one island left to add to it. We were gonna add even more,
Yeah.
but I think as it is now, it's like if a lot more were added, like 3 more or something, it would just start to get too much. But yeah,
Yeah, it
there's
would
like one
oversaturate
more
the.
major island planned for it, for the top left corner of it.
I'm excited for that.
That's like right where we had Toy Maker in the event, right?
Yeah.
Next question was kind of geared towards your current Sea of Thieves arc, but will players ever be able to shoot themselves like out of the cannons or mortars on ships?
Probably not, because like I know it's a fun feature and stuff, but I just
It just
don't
doesn't make
like
sense.
that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, what is your favorite existing feature about the Dark Sea, and which one are you looking forward to adding later on? I guess that's for both of you.
Uh, Existing feature, my favorite is probably just the Siren Rocks. And as for plans, I guess it would be. I was gonna say something, but I think it's gate kept, so I'll just say dragons.
I think mine would probably be Atlanteans as the current favorite, and in the future, also Atlanteans because we plan on giving them unique behaviors and such for higher tiers like Nightmarish, and we really want to capitalize on. We want to capitalize more on the fact that the longer you're in here, the more mutated you'll become. So just seeing the difference between the current mutated and the future fully beast, I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I definitely think the Dark Sea has so much potential, and once more things get added, I think a lot of people will get to appreciate that because not all of it's been like talked about publicly. Um, Next question is: will the frigate, the next ship, be coming in full release, or is that still a little ways away?
Probably not, because full release, the estimated level cap it's gonna be is 180, which is right when the frigate would become available. So that would most likely be in the first update after full release.
Yeah, fair enough. How big do you think like the change between brig and frigate is gonna be?
I don't think it would be much bigger, like width or lengthwise, but it would get another deck for cannons, and I think another mast. Yeah, because it's 3-masted.
Yeah, I think it would still keep that one, like the one siege attachment though.
Fair enough. Is there any like cool customization options you're planning on adding, like how the brig had the like pictures and fish tanks and stuff?
Yeah, so all that stuff
Yes.
from the brig would carry over to the captain's quarters of the frigate, but because the frigate is bigger, we plan to add like a door in the captain's quarters that leads into like an instanced interior that you can customize. So like it would basically be a housing system but for the inside of your ship.
Awesome.
And you can like place furniture and stuff like that in there and customize it.
So is that where like players are gonna spawn and stuff, like if they're on their boat and everything?
I don't know if they'd spawn in like the instanced area. Probably like by the bed outside of it.
Gotcha. Next question is a WOM deep cut. Will the under threat system that existed on towns ever return for like the more civilized islands that a player might be on? So like if someone's messing up Palo Town, will that like ever like a similar type of system be implemented ever?
I don't know because like there's already notoriety, which is gonna get more stuff over time too. So like if a town was under threat, it might just be like too overwhelming for like a bounty player
Yeah.
to deal with that much stuff.
Had a follow-up question right underneath it. Would the larger islands like Ravenna or Samaria ever, like, in such a situation where there's someone, like, with notoriety on there, have their soldiers replace the Grand Navy, like, for attacking you for notoriety? So there's not, like, an onslaught of Navy ships, like, slamming into the island and stuff like that?
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
That'd be interesting. I like that.
Cool. Do you think you'd do something similar for like the islands that they control, like Shell, or do you think you'd leave that up to the Navy more likely?
Yeah, probably.
Gotcha.
I just heard a citizen die on my screen.
Take a shot.
Probably. The citizens getting shot has got to be one of the funniest features.
Yeah. Gotta rob them. Take a shot. Hilarious.
Next question. Another lore one. Who is your favorite character that you've made for AO? And I guess for each of you.
For me, it's Wotan or Kazal, which Kazal, I don't think anyone knows about him yet, but he's going to be one of the talent quest givers for the Seekers of Sight. It's one of the most interesting characters we've made.
Awesome.
Agreed. I think I can't say mine. I can't say which one I like the most, but I think a close second would probably be either Kazal or Jarson. I really like Jarson as a character.
Cool. And then the other part of this question was, in a similar vein, what's your favorite like nation or faction that's been written into the story so far? Or in the future, I guess.
Either the Corsairs or the Fallen Kingdom, which I don't think is even... Or no, I think there is something of that mentioned in the game. I just don't think it's called that.
Yeah, there's a note. But yeah, I think mine would be either probably the Fallen Kingdom, and then probably Thorn. I like how he established the Thorn Empire.
Yeah, you guys have been talking a lot about Thorn. Is there anything you can kind of say about them other than like they exist?
It's kind of inspired by like Britain in like the 1700s-ish. Like they would have the most advanced like marksmen / guns.
Gotcha.
I think they also have the most wealth out of any kingdom, which allows them to have...
The first message I see in the chat is "Ew, Britain."
Do we know what sea they're in? I don't know if that's been said before or not.
The Chimera Sea, which is 2 or 3 seas from now.
Gotcha. Next question was, will we ever be able to kind of spawn where we logged off, or like have an option to spawn on like the last island you were on instead of like at the preset spawns like at the border of the seas and stuff?
Once there is the PvP option, maybe. Because I was gonna make it so that you can place a camp on any island after that change, but I might take it a step further and allow that, like for you to just spawn where you logged off. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think it'd feel weird playing AO like that, I can't lie, but I think it'd be an interesting change. Next question is, are there any minor gods still alive? Like, I know Tech was talking about Pan before.
Possibly.
Yes, there are.
No further comment?
Bro was gonna
Nope.
gatekeep and say possibly.
I can't say who.
Alright. Next question was, will there be, like, more seasonal events like the Yuletide event that get introduced next year?
Yeah, we plan to just keep doing events. I don't know how many more we would do this year because, like, if 4 release isn't out by, like, say, November, I don't know if I'd want to do another, like, Yuletide and Halloween event. Because, I don't know, I feel like it would just be, like, repetitive at that point, making people do the same activities as last year.
Yeah, I definitely think there's still a little bit of room for inspiration, but maybe scale the events down if we have to.
Yeah.
I know in one of our event calls, we pitched the idea of doing like maybe a shorter like Valentine's Day event or something like that. Maybe doing some smaller holidays to mix it up if needed. Just cause, yeah, like you said, we've kind of been going through most of the activities in game, so once more new stuff's out, definitely be easier to make full blown events like those again. Let's see. And I think that is the very last question that we had pre-recorded. So I guess we can start.
I see one more.
Yeah, you want to read it? You want to ask that one?
Are we finally gonna admit it, Vetex? Is Mimir Island real?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
All right.
We take questions from chat.
Yeah, we can definitely take questions from chat. If you're on the YouTube stream, if you can just type them, I think if you include like the word Arcane Odyssey official, it'll like tag your message and make it like highlighted. And if you're in the Discord, feel free to ping me at Galaga and I'll read some of those questions out. Just tag me in the like stage thread. First question I saw was, will we get more like skills in the game? Like there's cooking, jewel crafting, brewing. Is there anything else planned like that?
Planned, yeah, but I don't know if it would be a part of full release because it would probably be for like the professions update whenever that would be.
Gotcha.
Also, since a ton of people have been asking this the entire stream, full release doesn't have a set release date. Like, it's still pretty much like very under development. Like, it's not gonna be done anytime soon. I wanted to do like a whole nother story chapter, if not two more. A bunch more features, the PvE guilds, talent quests, maybe the fleet system. Like, I wanted it to be a lot more, so it's definitely not going to be ready anytime soon.
I guess to our credit as well, that we've been able to add so much more into it than we previously expected, however. It's a lot of details and smaller stuff.
But saying that, I do think the longest I would want it to take is probably like December. Like if we get to around October, I'll probably start wrapping the update up. Because it definitely wasn't going to be ready this summer, so it'll probably release this like holiday season instead.
Yeah. Definitely a lot coming. Definitely a lot more to come. I mean, I think you guys who watch the Trello know there's giant patch notes that go out literally every day. So people are hard at work on this stuff, and it'll get here when it's good. Let's see. Are Lost Magics coming in full release? No. Will the player be able to get curses? No. Will you ever be able to create your own magic? No.
made a magic?
Yeah, someone send him the link. Uh, do you guys have any other like lost magic mutation type things you'd want to let people clued in on, or you gonna gatekeep all that?
Not really. I don't want to like get people too hyped about lost and ancient magics, because like they're very much far away still.
Are there any upcoming in like the story anytime soon that you think people should know about, or not really?
The newest boss uses a lost magic, and he's very cool.
Cool. People have that to look forward to.
That is my favorite character, by the way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, out of characters that are in the game, he's probably my favorite.
Oh my god, I'm already up to 300 pings on the Discord. And I just tap back to YouTube chat. Every single message is orange. Will there ever be mini bosses in the Dark Sea?
Maybe.
Not in the same style as the Nimbus and Bronze, if that's what you mean, but in terms of like mini bosses, yeah, there will be.
Let's see. Someone's asking, what caused the storm raging in between Samaria and Macronaus? Is that something we'll be able to learn about later on?
It's kind of spoilers, but not really. It was made by the previous owner of the Storm Curse. That's why the lightning is yellow from it.
Let's see. Will the Jura Serva be added in the full release update?
Yeah, and they will be joinable.
Are Skyhall citizens racist?
They do not like sea people, majority of them. Like, if you walked around and bumped into some citizens, they might say something about sea folk or whatever.
Yeah, and it's rooted in fear. I think it was at one point rooted in a sense of pride that they were able to survive in such a situation. And I think after the events, it just became fear afterwards.
I saw this question whiz by in the chat. Will sensing be a thing? Yeah, I'm actually going to add sensing right after these little combat changes I'm working on.
Awesome. I've been asking for that since the game dropped.
Bro, yeah, it's been like on the to-do list, but it just kept getting pushed back.
Let's see.
I used to pray for days like these.
Will we ever get attachments for the boats that you could put on the ship, like a rowboat or whatever? Kind of like how in Sea of Thieves you can add them to like the back of your boat, so as the boats get bigger, it's easier to like get to an island without having to like ram into the rocks and beach and stuff.
Maybe.
That could be interesting.
Let's see. Will we ever hear from the Shura dude again? Quote.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
That one's a statement, buddy. Try again. Would you ever consider adding something that supports like group play progression? I guess this is kind of alluding to like the teamwork system in WoM, how that like gave boost for working together, but also maybe like shared quest progress tracking. Because this is my personal interjection. I know certain quests like the collect 10 bananas or whatever, like that sucks to do as a group because there's only so many.
I think Mooch has actually made those quests so that if someone in your party picks up like an item from a quest, it counts for everybody in your party.
Awesome. You think the teamwork thing would ever come back or nah?
I don't know. I do want to think of a way to make the Dark Sea better when you do it in a group, but I don't know if I'd want to just do the teamwork method, which is just like a galleon and XP multiplier.
Galleons.
Or yeah, drachma.
Do we have new sea monsters planned? And will they be in full release?
So, yeah, actually, if you don't watch the patch notes, we recently added a Kraken type of sea monster that kind of works like how it does in Sea of Thieves, where you like fight the tentacles over the water while they batter your ship. And we also added a Dark Sea version of it, which is the first Abyssal class sea monster that has like a ton of HP and drops this armor set I'm wearing and a cool title if you manage to kill it.
Yeah, I think you had that one on before. Did you want to put it back on or no?
Oh yeah.
I think it
Let's see.
definitely deserves the.
I don't even know if
by the way.
people are gonna be able to kill that sea monster anytime soon. Like, I basically just added these as like, if you manage to kill it, you get something.
I saw a good question, but
Props to anyone who's able to.
Yeah,
Omen.
I lost it. Next question was: will the player ever be strong enough to fight like a curse user in a boss fight? And if so, at what point in the story would we be at that point?
We're actually almost there. I think for the rest of this sea, the player kind of gets bullied by curse users, but that starts to change, is what I'll say.
Would you ever consider adding set bonuses for wearing like a full armor set of like the same type?
Probably not. Like, I've never really liked the idea of set bonuses in this game just because it means you are not allowed to be as creative with like the armor combinations.
Let's see. Next question was: is there any plans to kind of incorporate any like other mythologies aside from Greek mythology, or is that gonna kind of stay exclusively Greek?
No, that would kind of like ruin the whole verse, because like the whole verse is just like,
Yeah.
if Greek mythology was real and this twist happened in it. So like if there was a different mythology, it would just be kind of weird.
Let's see. No, you will never be able to get any seasonals that were in past events unless you buy them from somebody. Lore-wise, does the underworld exist? Is that something that like people can go to, or like how does that fit in, if at all?
Yeah, it exists. That's all I'll say.
Go to? Possibly. It's called dying. Come back from? Not really. It's basically the afterlife.
Do we have slow mode on the YouTube chat?
Nope. I can probably turn it on if you want me to. Or I could try to. How long of a slow mode do you think? Like 30 seconds?
Yeah, probably.
I just do like 10.
Oh, I put it to 30. We'll see if that's too slow. And we can turn it down later. Oh, it's still going. Will there be any more in-game decisions like that are kind of majorly impacted by the Elias decision? I guess I can probably answer that because like if you haven't noticed certain points in the story, like with Maria, they're affected by your choices there. Same with like Karina. So like once you pick that alignment, it's like it affects the story choices. Will there ever be like magic exclusive ultimates like in AA, or is that something you're gonna avoid?
No.
Oh my god, I'm at over 1,000 pings. If you kill like citizens in a kingdom, will like the kingdom's guards come after you, or does it just give you like notoriety?
I don't remember if it gives you notoriety, but yeah, it does aggro any nearby guard NPCs.
Will there ever be a way to change the deckhand's like stats and professions in the future?
Probably not, because I was gonna add a way for you to have like deckhands that aren't equipped, and you just have to get like different ones if you want to change it.
Yeah, that was coming with like the fleet thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. No, there's no races coming in the game. uh, these Discord questions are so grim. So how is sensing gonna work? That's a question I'm seeing. Like, how is it gonna be different from just using like a revealing potion?
So the plan is to have it so when you hold shift or whatever the charge button is for you, you can like press a different button to toggle the sensing, which would let you see like the auras or whatever of different players and NPCs up to a certain range. And I say auras because for each build you're sensing like a different thing. Like for Spirit, you sense their max health. For Magic, you sense their... I think it was like... I don't know. I know Strength was like their Renown, I think. But, yeah. And then if you're a higher level with sensing, like max level, for example, you would automatically sense somebody when you deal damage to them for a short time, which would help with, like, if you're in a fight with a bunch of, like, rubble and debris and you can't see the opponent, you'd be able to sense them through the particles and stuff, which would help.
Yeah, definitely. Question: how are the like newer cutscenes looking? Like, do you think there's any significant improvement? Like, are you happy with how they're turning out lately?
A lot of the Skyhawk cutscenes are just, like, dialogue, but I think the few, like, more complex cutscenes, I think were, like, decent. I don't know.
Um, we've got someone from the Ink Hopium Club saying, "Will we ever be able to get any form of ink? A new water variant, magic, spirit weapon, fighting style, ink, or even just an object from the Kraken?"
I don't know.
Probably not.
I've been seeing a lot of people asking, are like wands and staves still something that are gonna come, and like how would those work with like mages?
I don't know if those are going to be added anymore. If they are, they'd probably just be Arcanium weapons.
Gotcha. Um,
Someone
what?
said, what's the obtainment method for legendary weapons? We have no idea, dude. That's not going to be for another, like, 300 levels, probably.
Come back in 2030.
I think,
Yeah, facts.
honestly, I think looking back on AA, I think that was one of the issues that we had, was just adding legendary weapons too soon, and them basically just being an end-all be-all
Oh, yeah,
at
I
that
will
level
say
cap.
that, though. They won't be obtained the same way as AA. That was ridiculous. So you can relax about that.
What do you mean you don't
You
want
won't
the
get jumped.
simulator drop rates?
Yeah, it was like 1 in
I think it
50,000, and it announced you to the whole server.
wasn't it
It's
cross
doomed.
server and like a Discord ping and everything too? Why did you change the name of galleons to drachma?
I never really liked the fit of galleons, and I think drachma just, like, makes more sense.
Are the Dark Sea Sky Islands something that's still coming, and would those be with full release or no?
Yeah, they're still coming. They probably won't be with full release. Most likely not.
This question here, can we make it so we can see our party members on the map based on what color they are? I think that was a feature that was re-added recently, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So, and another feature that's cool, I think it was Rico who redid the party system, right? He made it so everybody has like a unique color now, so it's not based on like your Roblox color anymore, so you'll be able to differentiate.
Oh, I didn't see that he added that.
Yeah, you get like assigned a color based on like what slot you are in the party, I think, or it's just random. I'm not sure. But yeah, the days of having 4 people in the party who are pink are over. Will there ever be a bank faction added to the game? Like, I guess like a central bank type thing?
Yeah, actually, that is one of the things we're adding.
Is that going to function kind of like how it did in AA, where you can like put your money away into it and like not lose it on?
Yeah, it's also going to let you put items into like a shared bank that you can access across different files.
That's awesome. I know it's a feature people have been asking for ages. So many questions about lost magics and stuff. It's all they care about. They're rabid. Will there ever be like future points in the story where we get big lore dumps about like about Ravenna? Is a question that I saw. Someone was interested in like their lore and history.
There will be more like info about Ravenna and its past as the story goes on. Yeah.
Saw this question. Are you still planning to add that power slider that like limited the output of like your damage and stuff? And if so, is that something that you think would come with full release or later on?
Probably not. I don't have that planned anytime soon, if it would ever get added.
This question was, will Argos's sword ever be added as like an obtainable thing? I don't think so, right?
No, because it'll be used later in the story by something.
Gotcha. How many total kingdoms are there in the War Seas? Is a question I saw.
Let me see.
Yeah, let's look at the map again.
There's 11 active ones and 3 ruined ones.
There's also possibly going to be one forming later on in the story.
Oh, yeah.
This question is funny. Will you ever be able to pay the assassins to like go after another player or like kill like an NPC or something for you?
I don't know about that, but there is going to be something where assassins can ambush famed players.
So kind of like a reverse notoriety type deal?
Yeah, kinda.
Will you ever add mobile support?
No, probably not.
It could even be possible with how many inputs there are.
I guess if you plugged in a mouse and keyboard. Is like our summons / like dead revival staff type stuff ever gonna be added to AO?
Maybe as like a legendary spirit weapon thing, that would be possible, but that's like so far away that I can't say for sure.
I think there is the I forget what it's called, but on the crystal one it has a summon ability, right? The spirit weapon.
Oh yeah, the summon the spirit minion or whatever. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. It's basically just a version of you.
Would you ever consider adding like a cosmetic or something for people based on like each generation they're in, like so the older players have something cool, or not really?
Probably not, because people already put like too much stake in the generation thing. Like, I wouldn't want to make it be like a gate-kept vanity thing as well.
Yeah. On that
First
note,
generation gets a 401k and retirement plan.
is Generation 6 the last one for AO now that full release is dropping?
I don't even remember what the last one is, like what the current number is.
It's up to 5 in main game, and then I think 6 is going to be what
Oh,
for
yeah.
people after full release.
Yeah, that probably would be the last one. I mean, maybe in a few years we would do another one, I don't know.
Would you ever add like map improvements to like ping stuff on the map for people?
Probably. I wanted to revamp how the map looked too, to make it look kind of like parchment styled.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Bro, I can't even read the chat questions. They go by so fast.
What I've been doing is if you scroll up a little bit, it'll freeze the chat in place, like as long as you're not at the very bottom of them that I've been reading. Are all spirit weapons gonna have exactly 5 rights?
Yeah.
Saw this one asked a lot. How many C's are planned?
6.
Plus the dark sea. To the people asking about lost magics, lost fighting styles, and all that stuff, save the questions for a later Q&A, because I think everything that's going to be said about those right now was said earlier on in the stream. So when it's over, you can go back and watch.
Yeah, I'll just say don't get too excited about lost and ancient magics and fighting styles, because they're still pretty far away.
They'll be awesome, but they won't be soon.
Like, it's not even something that I would add soon if I could, because it's like a level cap thing. Like, you're not meant to get them till like level 300 or so.
Will there ever be a pet system in AO with like the animals and stuff that have been added, like to tame them or something?
I've been thinking about that a little bit lately. I think I might add like a pet slot to your ship for like a cat, a dog, a bird, or whatever, but I don't know. It would be something for way later.
This question is just about a lot of the characters that we met in the Bronze Sea, like Riven, Elias, all them. Are those people gonna reappear later, or is this story kind of done
now? Yeah. Some of them will reappear.
Depends on who.
A lot.
Someone said for like government types, are there any republics in the War Sea, or is everything a kingdom?
I think pretty much everything is a kingdom.
I think one of them is technically a republic if you think about it.
Which one?
The Corsairs, because they have the pirate lords.
Oh yeah. Probably
I think
then.
Riven has something unique as well, but it's typically just like a dictatorship mostly.
Or legendary ships still planned, yeah.
Will you ever add the ability to grow food at some point, and maybe bigger fish tanks in future ships?
Bigger fish tanks, yeah. Grow food, I don't know. Maybe.
Be hard. Have to be like Nami or something.
Yeah, or even make it like a clan building, like plot for food or something.
Cape cape physics possible, yeah. We're looking into that. It's kind of annoying because there's like 40 different cape items, so we have to go through it and remodel each one for them to have physics.
And plus, some of the torsos have capes on them too, so those would need to get touched.
And then there's issues of clipping, like going in, like if you have like a sword on your hip, there's sometimes it'll like just clip through the cape itself, and it'll defeat the purpose, or the cape will just like fold around it.
Will an undershirt vanity option be added? Yeah, I have a system plan for that.
Will there be travel spells, like a spell that lets you fly or something, even if it was like
Yeah.
interruptible?
VR support.
I think technically AO has VR support, just not very good. I think one of the testers, Perf, he was in VR mode like a year ago.
Bro, I remember a long time ago in World of Magic, Tenso said he had his VR plugged in on the World of Magic title screen, and he said it was so jarring, like him flying through the air while the camera showed stuff.
I think he legitimately
Technically,
said he got sick after.
you can technically use a keybind system to bind to controllers. I think it works, but you just don't have enough buttons.
Oh my god, I'm up to 4,000 pings
True.
in Discord. I'm gonna go check that chat out now.
We'll bounce back to you too, don't worry.
Yep.
Will Steleus play a bigger role in the story? He will reappear, but not a role in the story.
Will you ever show more pictures of your cats?
Yeah.
Will the Exiled and Minotaur bosses ever come back as like side bosses
No.
or anything?
No.
Will Bounty and Fame be wiped in full release? No.
Will you ever add more vanity slots?
No. At what level do you think we would be equal to Wotan or Warren? You won't get to that strong in the story. It's like literally not possible unless you got a curse.
Would there ever be like clan vanity items that like change with like the colors of your clan and like swap the logo out and stuff?
Yeah, actually. So that's something I'm planning to add soon that I don't even know if I put it on the Trello, but
I don't think
I'm
so.
adding a clan infamy shop where you can buy items for galleons / drachma, depending on how high your clan infamy is. And like for example, you could buy like a clan crown if you're like the leader of the clan and stuff like that, or like a clan cape with the logo on it.
Let's see. Will you ever be able to make your crew board ships and attack with you?
You can kind of do that now with the new following thing. But as for like having the entire crew board, I didn't want to add that just because I think it would be too overwhelming, like visually. Having like 20 versus 20 NPCs fighting and jumping and stuff.
Will you add a one free stat reset for full release since Oracle's being added?
Probably, yeah.
Would you ever make it so you can set a clan uniform? I guess kind of like how the like Navy has it.
I don't think so.
What is the question? Is the dragon blood ritual a real thing mean? Like in real life? I don't think so.
Or does he mean a mythology? Because if so, then yes. There's a ton of stories like Siegfried and the evil dragon Fafnir, and he became basically immortal after he bathed in its blood. There's the first emperor of Rome back in Greek mythology was said to pierce the dragon, become the eternal emperor until he died, which wasn't very eternal.
This fleeting question in the chat, which is, will you ever change or improve the combat? I have a lot of plans to change, like various details of the combat. So yeah, it should flow better in full release. Like fighting styles are getting a complete revamp and stuff like that.
Someone's asking, could there ever be a sheath accessory that like hides your weapons while it's equipped?
Mm,
And he mentioned
I
like,
don't
the
think
buff
so,
and
because
the
for that to work, you'd need a different sheath for every weapon.
Yeah.
And
Or is it
plus
like
that
just
wouldn't
cover the
even
bullet?
be hiding it, it
Right?
would still be in the sheath.
I think he just meant it as like it would just make the models invisible, so it's like not on your character.
Probably not then.
Mm,
Um. Um.
Wait, what was that question I just saw? Will each sea have a different theme / OST? I don't know. I did want to change the sailing theme though, because the current one really doesn't fit the vibe I want.
One question that reminded me of a question I saw way before. Will each new boss like have a unique like OST that plays during it, like going forward?
Uh, you mean like every mini boss? Because every boss already has a new theme.
I guess that's what they meant. I'm not sure.
Because for mini bosses, nah, I don't think we would add a theme for everyone.
Do
So it's just way too much.
the side bosses have them too, like
Yeah.
Sonics, right?
Yeah.
Will Shadow one day have a decent effect? I think you should be referred to the lost like versions of it, right? Because isn't that what Darkness basically is? It's like AA Shadow.
Yeah. None of the base magics are gonna be changed, like, fundamentally.
What was the hardest sea monster to add to the game?
I guess Kraken, because all the existing ones are just, like, shark AI. The Kraken was, like, the first one that's actually really different. Will a ship bigger than
Any-
the brig be added? Yes. There will be bigger ships added as the level cap raises.
People are asking about a fighting style rework information. Like a lot of people are asking about that.
Honestly, I do not remember how it's gonna be revamped. I'd have to read the doc again. I think it was gonna have, like, small hit stun or something, where you can, like, break somebody's guard. I don't know. Don't read too much
This is
into
a-
that, because I don't remember exactly. It sounded good
This
from
is
what
a-
I read.
How far can a person? How far can a powerful oracle alter their own body? Can they become other species if they want, or become immortal in a similar way to curse users?
I think they could, but you would need, like, insane knowledge of the body to be able to do that. Like, in lore,
Yeah.
when you fight spirit weapon users who have altered their body, a lot of them are going to be, like, monstrous, because, like, to work spirit energy on yourself, you need to know the intention. So, like, if you're changing your body, you have to, like, understand the DNA and all that. And because it's, like, kind of olden times, people don't have that understanding. So, like, if someone casts intent to, like, give themselves bigger muscles, they're probably gonna look like a giant, like, I don't know, like Bane from Batman level of muscles, because they can't control,
Yeah.
like, how much they're actually changing themselves.
The ones who typically alter their body in that specific way typically have a shorter lifespan, as that's harsher on their own life.
Will you add horses or rideable mounts? Probably when we get to Jotunheim, which is in the next sea. Maybe.
Someone was asking about curse color variants. That was answered earlier in the stream. Stuff about waterproofing was answered earlier in the stream.
Will you add a way for people to obtain curses? No, never. There will never be a way to get curses.
How strong is Ruby Roger?
Right
now,
now,
or
level-wise, he would probably be like 120.
Clark Silvers would probably be maybe 100. Will you add weapons made of pure magic, like an axe made of lightning?
Someone said Jotunheim is Norse. It's just the name of it. It's not actually, like, Norse mythology Jotunheim. It's just the name.
Yeah. It's based off of mythology, but it isn't the mythology.
Tech, you want to go to Mistville now?
Oh.
Sure.
Sure.
Alright, 1 second.
Bro, what the hell is that?
Misinput.
It's
What is
just a test.
the yellow on your health?
Oh, me? That's
oversaturation.
like, yeah, it's like the overhealth thing.
Oh.
This is Mistville. This is one of the lower islands in Sky Hall, so it's very misty because it's within the clouds itself.
Yeah.
Bro's covered in green goop.
Yeah, I got slimed. Question, do the solid magic curse constructs, like Wotan's ship, have, like, matter? Like, I guess, like, are they, like, actual, like, wood?
Wait, liquid? I thought you said solid.
Solid. Like, are they, like, made of matter?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's asking
So,
if yeah.
anything made with curses can be permanent if the curse user wishes it to be. But with magic, anything you make, like, is destined to expire. Like, you can't... Even if you're, like, a really good mage, you can't make something out of magic that's permanent.
Oh, what's going on? Roblox.
How far will the Nimbus C story be in full release? Probably, like... 3/4 of the way done?
Double check that. Yeah, 3/4, if not a bit over. Because if we get to where we ideally want, we'd only have maybe 3 chapters left.
What armor is Vetex wearing? It's from killing the Omen. It's a new sea monster in the Dark Sea.
The people are asking, what is Arcane Apotheosis? And is it sensitive?
That's kind of spoilers right now. It'll be revealed
Yeah.
at the end of the Nimbus Sea.
It's the apex of power.
Is LeBron the GOAT? Yes.
Are the Knicks winning? Are they on?
Will Lord Ulricus find out that we slimed his kids and hunt us down? Possibly.
What's the name of the ruler of Skyhall? King Zenith. Will you be able to knock back people into environments to deal damage? I thought about adding that a long time ago, but I think it would just be OP. Like, if you could deal extra damage by just knocking people into stuff. Would a separate bank like Clash of Clans? I mean, I don't know about that, but yeah, we are adding a separate bank system.
Vetex, will you add weapons made of pure magic like an axe made of lightning for mages only? Like as a spell?
As a spell type, yes, that would be a thing.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
Will there be magic weapons? Yes.
Are we getting more quartermasters in the future, and will they ever have the like opportunity to fight with us? Specifically in the main
yes,
story.
we'll get more. In the main story, will they fight with us?
Yeah.
Maybe at some point in the story, actually.
Yeah, that
like
could be
during
cool.
The
I
battle
like that.
scenes and stuff, maybe.
Can I give a slight hint about the quartermasters, by the way? I'm not gonna spoil.
Sure.
We've met 2 of them.
2?
Not sure if both will end up being added, but you have met 2 of them.
2.
Will you add boss drops, Pity? No. I think the drop rates are already pretty low, yeah.
It's like 1 in 5,
Doesn't need
1 in
pity.
6
Yeah.
for almost all of them.
Even side bosses are 1 in 10. That's only if they have like 1 drop or so.
Will you ever go, like when more ships are added, are you gonna go and change the models for, like, Maria's ship and the Fenrir's, or are they just gonna stay as, like, scaled up rigs?
Fenrir will probably stay.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to go back and change those.
Yeah, I think those ships are unique, and I think I like them being unique as they are. I think the Fenrir's exactly how we wanted it size and design-wise.
Are you two brothers?
No.
No.
Will you ever be able to change the sound effects that play for blocks or parrying with custom sound IDs?
No. That sounds awful.
Someone asks again if me and Vetex are dating, I swear to God.
Bro, Tech
No.
has a girlfriend.
This man is my
Will
best friend,
Ruby
but
Roger
no, it's not like that.
appear in Skyhall? No. He's only gonna appear like once per sea.
Will you ever add like skills like grabs or whatever that have cutscenes in them, or no?
I don't know.
Cutscenes in them?
Maybe for like a boss skill or something.
They mean like if you grab someone, having like the camera move cinematically. I don't know, cause
it would have to be.
It would be weird to have all the existing grabs not have that, and then have some have that. So I don't know.
It might be cool for like a certain boss skill or something, but I don't know about for player stuff.
Either for boss stuff or like final tier of stuff. That's the only context I could see it in.
Bro,
Will there be weapons with permanent imbued magic like the Frostwater Bow? Probably at high level caps.
I mean, isn't that what the sunken swords are, basically?
Pretty much.
Kinda, yeah.
Will there be sea shanties? I wish. It's just hard to like find different ones, I guess.
Like high quality ones that we're able to use, and making our own is just hard.
I think it would be weird in the game because I remember when I was adding citizens, you know how when they stop and talk to each other, I added like mumbling, like human mumbling voice lines to that.
Oh, I didn't.
And it just sounded so weird and out of place. So it might be weird if there was shanties.
Would you ever?
I think it's just jarring to hear like human voices in a game that doesn't have any voices.
Would you ever?
I'd be down for them to play music though.
Is a question that I've seen.
What about world bosses?
Like a boss, new or old, that like makes them a lot harder, but like needs like the whole server to fight or something like that.
Some of the side bosses that are planned would be like that, I think.
Yeah, and some of them would be a nuisance enough to where you'd have to, like, fight them.
Will you add unequipping deckhands? Yeah, once there's a bigger ship.
Are Atlanteans able to enter the sea, like the sea clusters, or does like their mutations make it like dependent on the dark seas, like miasma or whatever?
Yeah, so they do become dependent on like the rain, but lore-wise they would wash up like dead on islands around the edges of the war seas and stuff.
Is that only after like a certain level of mutation? Or like any degree and they're kind of cooked?
I think Lost Sailors would be okay, but anything
if
further
a Lost Sailor came back to the war seas, they would probably like be taken for a madman.
Yeah, that too.
Will you ever add a crafting system for like items or anything like that, or is it gonna stay just like for gems and potions?
Probably not, because with animals I thought about adding it, but I think it's just a lot more straightforward and less cluttered to make it so they directly drop like the gear that you would craft out of their stuff.
Bro, this man's ambitious. He wants the next 30 years of your life. Will you remake all the Arcane games and then combine them into one big game? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's never happening, bro. This game alone is gonna take like another 6+ years.
Does that even include online fighting? Oh my goodness.
He wants the whole
Oh,
thing.
no.
He wants to log in and play the story start to finish.
Will there ever be weapon vanity? No. Oh, will there be a way to convert our clans to guilds? I don't have that thought of now, but I'll probably try to think of a way, because that's pretty important.
Yeah.
If they do, I think that there would be definitely a deficit for like the progress that they'd get in
Yeah.
a guild, like from the conversion. But that could be interesting.
What armor are you wearing, Tech? The people are asking.
I am wearing Omen shoulders, Omen ape, and then a
Bro turned on the spot.
white tiger pelt.
Mm.
Give him a 360.
Are there any support spells planned to be added? Yeah, there was the enchantment spell that was added this update.
Will we see the marauding sea talked about by Maria? Yes, that is the last sea you will go to in the story. Will you ever make AO a game not on Roblox? People ask me that all the time, and the answer is no, because, like, it's not as simple. Like, I can't just take this game and, like, put it on Steam because it's on the Roblox engine. Like, I would have to make completely new terrain, have the characters be custom modeled, like, recode everything in a different language, make my own physics engine, network, like, all of that, so no.
That's like a decade.
And after all that work, it would probably get less players than it would on Roblox, so... Will Captain Arwald come back? Yes.
Will there be more sunken gear later? How is the performance in terms of lag? I guess he means in TU. I think it's pretty good. Like, I haven't noticed any lag issues lately.
Yeah, I'm getting 100 FPS.
Can we get a 2025 roadmap? Probably not, but we may have a 2026 roadmap.
I don't know. The 2020, what was it, 3 roadmap was kind of grim. Will there be a way for you to add higher render distance? Yeah, that's like in the game, like right now. It's right there.
Will Nevero make a return to the story? Yes. What's the update after full release? We don't know yet, because it depends on what full release leaves off on. It might be like Professions or another story chapter, I don't know.
Will waterproofing magics be added in full release? No.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Because he said wasn't sure, it was just like not top priority right now.
Will you ever add, or will you ever remove groundbreaking or reduce how deep it goes? No.
Will drop and patch updates be more frequent in the full release? I think full release is probably going to be the update that takes the longest out of like all of them, right?
Yeah.
So
unless we have to decide to do like another update
too.
of this scale one day, I don't know.
I'm not sure who we'd all add.
Yeah, after this update, it would mostly be just like story updates, which would be fairly fast depending on what the chapter is.
What cape is Galaga wearing? I think this is like the black bear cloak. I think.
Yeah, black bear cloak.
Is there anything that you can tell us about Tauren?
It was a concept for a boss back in Arcane Adventures that used black fire.
Are there canonically other sea clusters on the planet aside from the 7 seas and the war seas, or is that it?
Yeah, so in the Myriad, I think there's a book that says the 5 sea clusters. One of them I don't know if this is said anywhere yet, but one of them is taken over by dragons, and you will be able to visit it
Fire.
by traveling through the Dark Sea.
Will the Agora ever get like a revamp visually? And like would more stuff get added into the Agora? Like I guess different like notifications.
I don't know about visually, but yeah, I want to keep adding new like topics to it. I think it needs more now actually, because like I think
Yeah.
there's been a fair amount of stuff added that could be topics in there. Will there be other sub factions you can join, like the Nabian Assassins? Yeah, we're gonna add a few of those in full release. Will there ever be more magics? Not any more base magics.
We have specific quest lines for all of the factions. In a way, but not specifically. Like you won't be required to be in the faction specifically to get it.
Yeah, I think some of the planned factions you have to do a quest to get the option to join, but I think some of them you can just click join when you meet the NPC.
Yeah. Okay, I'm saving that image. What is going on in California?
Does Vetex play any Roblox games? Not recently. The only one I played recently was Block Tales, but I haven't played any past the first chapter recently. But I liked it.
I think someone was saying that you're in the game now. One of the testers.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool. Is there anything you regret adding that it's too late to remove or change? Well, I was thinking about this a lot a few months ago. I think if I were to remake this game's combat, I would make it a lot more ground-based, but it's definitely way too late to change it that much.
Damn, we're already almost at the 2.5 hour mark.
Is Dark Sea part of the storyline? No. Because in lore, the Dark Sea is like basically like certain death to go to. Like it rains acid there, it's hard to navigate. There's like horrors in there, like nobody wants to go there. Like there's a few people like I think it was mentioned that Wotan is interested in the Dark Sea. Like a few strong characters are interested in traveling it and stuff and are trying to find ways, but it's not really like a common thing. If you're adding mounts, will we ever be able to ride a dragon? That would be cool, but I don't know.
It might be OP.
Will there be any gods that we fight? No. Well, not... No.
Technically. Technically,
Yeah,
no.
I don't know. It's complicated. Bro, stop spamming. Will there be flying bears? Will there be flying sharks? No.
Apparently, there will be titles that go beyond the stat cap of 1200. Will VTEX add ways other than Savant to get these titles, like gaining more stat points? I don't know if we'd ever add like additional stat points that you could get from doing X or this or obtaining this.
I've thought about that, but I don't think there would be a good way to do that. I don't know.
I think he was talking about the stat titles, like Apprentice Mage, like the Apprentice part.
Oh, those were removed. Like, there are no build names anymore. It's just, it shows like your awakening name. Can we get a mutation chart? Oh, brother. I'll make one once Lost Magics are started, probably.
any plans on adding ranked PvP matches. We've talked about it and we've toyed with the idea, but we don't really see a major benefit in doing so. Where that type of time wouldn't be better spent on stuff that would just apply to more people who play the
I don't
game.
know about ranked, but we did add clan wars and naval wars, which are like casual modes you can do for like infamy and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if we'd ever do like ranked systems.
The closest we're probably doing currently is tournaments, and there will be the first official tournament either coming near full release or shortly after, or like a reward of a title, all that cool stuff.
I see that in the order tab before Argos there's a Baron missing. Will we ever fight him? Yes. So the plan is that in the story you fight all the High Lords and one of each Baron, but the rest of the Barons would be like side bosses that you would have to complete before finishing the story.
How big will the biggest ship be that you can drive?
It's hard to say compared to the brig. Maybe like 50% bigger overall. Or
Yeah,
wait, maybe
probably
twice
like
as
35.
big.
Oh, that's
'Cause,
what
yeah,
you mean.
Man of Wars are pretty huge. I just don't know, like,
Yeah.
in game what the scale would be like.
Yeah, it's hard to compare, especially when they're also getting wider and longer to how big they'd roughly be. But the Man of War is probably just the largest that we'll probably go to.
Someone asked, can we bind keys to mouse side buttons? I don't actually know.
I don't think so.
Yes.
That's a Muchas question, though.
I can test it right now, 1 second. No, I don't think Roblox supports it.
Will we be able to obtain a free Hecate shard in the story?
In
I
the
don't
story,
know.
because that's hard. Because most of them are located in the Dark Sea.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Alright, I have like a
Possibly.
lightning round of lore questions someone sent me a DM like an hour ago with. So, if you're ready, I've got like a fucking list of them.
Alright.
Alright, let's go. Let's grind it out.
Alright, what sea is/was Astoria located?
Hang on, let me look at the map.
What is the name of the Grand Navy capital? Is it still Astoria?
I don't know actually. Would it still be Tech, do you think?
I'd still be down for it to be Astoria, because just to give like homage to what created the Grand Navy and allowed them to be able to
I don't know
have
actually,
this generalized police force.
if they change to the Grand Navy, it might be weird if they kept their capital the same name.
It could be Astoria something. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
What's the capital of the Thorn Empire?
We don't know yet.
What culture is Wintervale, Astoria, and Azura based on? Like, is it anything real life based, like how Ravenna is like Rome and like Samaria is like Middle Eastern?
What was it?
I think, what was the...
Wintervale, I believe, was Dutch.
Azura was, like Gothic, I think, right?
Yeah, Victorian Gothic, but not really specifically, like from, like, England, just more of that type of architecture and such. That kind of is shared with France, with Italy, with just that era of culture. What was the last one? Astoria?
Yeah.
I remember we talked about that one, but I don't remember who we said it would be based on.
And then they also asked about Azura.
I think it was
Tech-
Romanesque for Astoria. Or which one is left? Because I think Romanesque was Astoria.
And then there's Azura, which was the last one.
Oh, we said
Azura.
Azura was Gothic,
Oh.
Victorian.
Gothic, yeah.
Wintervale. Wintervale was the other one.
Oh,
Dutch. They were Dutch. Not specifically, but that's what they were like stylized after.
For? Yeah.
Yep.
What is Nyla and Kellia's surname, if it exists?
I don't know if we talked about that.
I don't believe we talked about it.
Do you have any
But
other?
you will have one.
Do you have dark sea creatures planned other than the ones that are in the Trello?
Yes.
Okay. Is the knowledge?
Can I drop one?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Can I drop one, Vet? So we have this concept of a Scald Claw. You already have like a dagger for it, and it's basically this large crab with molten lava scale that burn even underwater and creates like all these sorts of bubbles and currents around it, and it kind of roams near shipwreck near the bottom of the sea.
Is the knowledge of super curses known, and do people actively make attempts to form them?
I mean, it's not a common thing to even absorb a curse. So, like, usually when people see a curse, they just want to absorb it. Like, they don't want extra power. Like, it's kind of just a happenstance thing when people absorb more than one curse.
I think it would be known about, but it wouldn't really be pursued because of how hard it is making such a thing happen.
Yeah.
This is a question about like lost magic mutation type stuff, but like, would you be able to mutate like water into acid, or like how would that work? Or like, would they
Probably
share
not,
the
'cause-
same like things they could mutate to, or?
Yeah, probably similar. Acid would probably have some more like poison themed mutations. But no, you wouldn't be able to mutate water into acid just because it's a base magic.
Gotcha. You already answered the thing about the other Baron. Can curse users survive in space? And if so, have they ever tried to fly into space?
They still would need oxygen, so no. But if they transformed like into their element, they could like go up there and just hold their breath for a little bit. Like they wouldn't die to like the pressure or whatever.
Gotcha. How they're asking about the ages of a bunch of characters like Nyla, Wotan, his sons, the King Admiral. Like, are they? I don't know.
All of those characters are like hundreds of years old.
Gotcha. What curse does the King Admiral have?
That's spoilers.
Oh no, that'd be a spoiler too. Never mind.
Any lore or info about the Siren Queen, or just like what's been said so far?
Just what's been said. There's nothing else yet.
Cool. That's the lore lightning round over then. Everything else was answered earlier. One question I've seen in the chats and in like both chats was, will you add like the ability to wear like tattoos on your character?
Unless it's from like you equipping a shirt, probably not, because Roblox doesn't have the technology to like layer a texture underneath a shirt. So like if you had a tattoo in the game and you wore a shirt, the tattoo would just be on top of it. So it would have to be like a specific shirt design that's equipped. There is actually, hang on, I could probably equip one. There was one shirt that was added that has a tattoo on it as a part of it.
Oh,
Let's see if
mains?
I have it. Yeah. Nope, I don't have it.
But
What else we got? Oh my god, I cleared my pings like 5 minutes ago. I'm already back up to 3,000.
will organization crews like the Navy or assassins you get as cosmetics when you join their faction change after full release?
No.
I don't think they change.
Is the accuracy stat finished? And if so, can you show it off? No. It replaced like all the stats, but it doesn't work yet.
When will Arcane Odyssey end? Like at what level and what year? Level maybe like 600. Year. I have
Year.
no idea, bro.
2045.
Yeah,
Probably a
that
couple.
shit might be like
Hang on.
35 at this point. I don't even know.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant like
Like,
story.
I'm
or...
down to keep working
Oh,
on
my
it as
bad.
long as it takes, as long as it like still can support me. So can you make pirate ship captain death dialogue not depressing so I don't feel bad killing them? Will the next boss
death is
fight be
depressing.
against a son of Wotan? Not the next one.
Have you considered adding any transformation type things to the game?
There is a transformation type of spell plan that would have like a bunch of cool options.
Will the like one-off like combat side quest NPCs like Arish Vista ever like return later on, or are they kind of one and done?
Maybe.
Does the enchantment spell affect all types of skills? Like, for example, your weapon skills, fighting skills, and stuff like that? Or only the magic?
I think it does.
I think that's a Muchas made that one, right?
It does. It affects everything.
Yes, legendary ship battles are still playing.
Like the 6th time that's been answered. Is the silver currency still a part of Skyhall? I don't know.
Will you ever
You
make a
plan
game
to add the
not...
Leviathan?
Will you ever make a game not related to AO lore? Probably not again. I don't know.
What? Well, maybe there's that one.
Bro's still holding out hope.
Bro, I will hold out hope as long as it takes. I'm so dead ass.
How do we tell him? Someone
You guys
said
plan to add the
cannibalism to
Leviathan and King?
AO.
What about Leviathan?
late. You guys plan to add Leviathan and King Caesar in full release or the update after?
Yeah,
It's in full release.
Will the Dragon Blood ritual on Trello give us a draconic appearance? No. It's just like a blood thing. It's not like a transformation.
I think maybe it's a bit of visual stuff, but not like turning into a dragon or getting scales or anything.
What does these people mean? What is lesser lost magic? Is this like a new like form?
It's
term?
like kind of a newer thing. Like the things like acid and magma in game are called lesser
that's what you
lost
mean.
magics. Because base magics
But
are
they
just stuff like fire, lightning, and wind and stuff.
I've never heard that term until people started asking me about it.
I thought it was a New Balance term. Will there be a claimable Sky Island? No.
Are there any plans to make M1ing more viable? Yes. Actually, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I did a bunch of M1 changes. You can, like, track people in the air with them now, so they're a lot better.
Did the change you made to the certain magic ones, is that on the Trello? I don't know if that happened or not.
You mean, like,
It's on the
light
Trello.
and lightning?
Yeah.
Because, yeah. Will there be customizable skyships? I don't know if it would be customizable, but you would get a personal skyship once the fleet system is added.
Could I say what for, or am I just gonna get people excited for something that won't happen for a while?
I think it has been talked about, but I don't remember.
Dark sky, baby. Y'all ain't seen shit yet.
Bro, I hate that visual bug with the particles on this island when it like makes stuff vibrate, kinda.
Yeah.
Is that just
It's a
a
Roblox bug.
I thought that was my PC, bro.
No, I've been seeing it too. Are spirit weapons tradable? Some
Yeah,
of them
Yes,
besides
they are.
the patrimony.
More hair is gonna be added. Probably a couple can be added since Vet said it's as long as he doesn't have to do it, he doesn't mind. Like we'll probably add because Astral made a few of them for like Yuletide and stuff like that, so we can probably add those in pretty easily.
I can add them if someone just sends them to me.
Will very high tier ultimate art/weapon attacks be able to create effects in the world or weather, like how water could make tsunamis and whirlpools in AA?
Maybe high tier spells and stuff, but I don't know about weapon skills.
One of the testers.
Weapon
just
skills,
sent
it would
a-
probably just be destruction.
Apparently,
Will
went
our
to
ships-
11,000 pings in the last 2 hours.
Damn. Will our ships be able to get the fortified and heavy titles? Yeah, it's just based on the level of your hull armor.
Will it be possible to become larger as a player? Yeah, that's with the Satyr stuff. Who is
There's been a
currently
mention
the
of daily
strongest-
login rewards.
Who's the current strongest
Will something like
character
that be
in the
added in
story
forwards?
we know exists?
Wait, what? You both said stuff at the same time?
They're asking.
Answer
who-
Galagas first.
Yeah, they're asking who out of all the characters we know exist, who's the strongest.
Do we say the other one? Because I just want to say Wotan.
Yeah, probably Wotan is the only, like, named one.
Do you think you would ever collab with another game?
Probably not. I don't like adding stuff to the game that, like, breaks the immersion.
Why doesn't this game have cloud skates like in AA?
I just think skyships are cooler, and I didn't like how in AA the sky skates were used to, like, run from combat and stuff. Plans on adding more emotes? We have plans, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Will you be able to rename the spirit moves? No, they're like weapon skills. Will you be able to
Can you make it
change
so
just
that
the
you don't-
color? Oh god. What were you saying, Tech?
Oh, I was reading a question that asked if hang on. Can we jump? Sorry, this is worded strangely. Can we jump on ships without going flying, basically?
I don't know. I might try to add that at some point.
Maybe someday.
Will you ever add interactive crews for players?
I-
If you mean like having them walk around on the ship and stuff, yeah, eventually.
Will we ever be able to call for reinforcements from a faction like the Grand Navy?
Oh, I saw that question. I forgot to say it.
Is that that's not a spoiler,
kind of,
right?
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Is
It's
that
related
new
to the.
UI gonna be public in the next update? Yeah. I don't know why we're getting the dock boat prompt up here. I thought I removed that when you're above a certain height.
Maybe it was because we got teleported or whatever. Like it didn't trigger the flag or something. No, there will not be new fish.
Will we be able to go to other sea clusters? The only one would be the Dragon Sea Cluster.
Why did you choose the name that you did?
When I was like 11 or something, I made this account because I wanted to make like a bootleg Pokemon thing, and I named them vetex cards because it's like vertex without the R. I don't know why I chose that.
What would you be able to drop items? You can trade them to other people, but I don't think you'd ever add like dropping them on the floor.
Yeah, probably not.
Um,
Will there be strength weapons that have magic effects? So yeah, in the future, I would want to add like kind of savant weapons, which would be like, say, an Arcanium strength weapon or something like that. Like something that requires like 3 stats. That would be really cool.
will you ever add a left-handed dominance option for like weapons? I think that's a
No, that's not really possible.
Um,
We'd have to upload mirrored versions of every single animation in the game.
Someone's asking, will any of like the features that are being worked on like be ported over to main game before the update, like how the cooking stuff was, or is it all gonna like get stayed?
Probably not.
No, I'm not
'Cause-
doing that. It's a huge
Yeah.
hassle to do it. Like, it takes a lot of
Plus,
time
they
that I could
kinda
be
just-
spending
It just takes
on making
away
other
from
things.
the full release too.
Yeah.
How high up are the Nimbus lands compared to Mount Othris? It's like twice the height, if not a little more, I think. I think it's definitely higher than Cirrus Island.
Someone asked if there'll be a way to change your rival or remove it.
I wanted to add a way to do that, but I'm not exactly sure how yet.
I think you floated the idea of like turning them in or whatever and getting them like permanently executed or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Will Leviathan work?
You go.
Leviathan work exactly like the Kraken guy in Arcane? Similar, but not the same.
Will there ever be
Yeah,
a,
they would spawn kind of on the ocean, but
Yeah.
not like just standing on it.
will there ever be a ship boss battle in the storyline, kind of like how Evander works?
In the story, I don't know. Will full release be pay to play? No. It will be free.
Maya get a faction to join in full release? No. She works for something different.
I've seen this question a few times. What are your thoughts on the fan games that people make for like remakes of like Arcane Adventures and stuff?
I don't know. It's cool, but I feel like it'd be cooler if they made something original. Cause like AA, in my opinion, even if you remade it, like to be as modern as AO, like it still would not be as good in my opinion. It just needs a lot more.
Oh my god, it's over, bro. Nick's down by 11.
How strong will our player characters be at max level when compared to some boss or NPC? Max level? I think they'd be pretty close to the apex of power in the War Seas, with maybe only a few people stronger than them.
I see a question. Will we see more of the Greenwish cultists in the future?
Yeah.
How do we tell them?
Did Elias cause the storm in his second phase, or is it a coincidence?
It's meant to just be like a coincidence. Because like it was already raining. And it just happened to start storming.
There's a question about titles. I guess, like, are there any, like, upcoming cool titles that are going to be added that, like, haven't been talked about yet?
Besides the ones that were on the patch notes recently, probably not. I think there's going to be a few relating to the factions that are coming up.
This one's about the writing process. Do you guys, like, write the big key points and then fill in, like, and figure out how it connects together later, or do you, like, write it, like, in order?
Yeah, so we kind of have like big bullet points for each C, and then like as we get closer to each one, we figure out how to connect them better.
Just of like the finer details of like who says what, go here, there, etc.
Will there be a way to change your magic's variant without swapping the whole magic? I think you can just do that with the Hecate essence, right?
My cat's watching the falling leaf particles.
Shadow or bear?
Bear.
Dragons are planned for the game, but not like another race to play as. Like, you don't play as the dragons; they're like an enemy.
I've always found that weird how races are such a common question. But I mean, I guess it's just people who don't like know the lore.
I think it's just also from a lot of RPGs, just having that trope of, you know, change race, become this, do that.
Pretty much all the other races in this verse are like in the Dark Sea. Like, it would be very weird for the player to be like a satyr or something.
Someone asked for the developer
Might
team,
also be
have
hunted.
you ever considered asking or adding like commentaries about updates and such? I mean, that's kind of what the dev forum post is after the end of each update. It like goes through all the changes.
Yeah, I kind of put like a little thing at the end of those to like explain like where we're at in the development and stuff like that.
So many people never read those. Like, before the Dark Sea update, you like name dropped like all the Atlanteans and stuff, and for like weeks, Patreon was like, "What's it gonna be?" Is there an estimated number of lost magics for like the 19,000th time? No.
I think
I don't know. Isn't it
probably
like
just
20
add
or
as many as
30?
possible.
Oh, I thought they meant like
Currently,
for
or
how
that we
many are
want?
currently planned.
No, they mean total. Like, how many?
Oh, total is just
Oh,
like however many we
yeah.
can keep thinking of that are good.
Right now, like
Wins
20 or
in
30.
a fight,
But
100
future?
players or 1 Wotan?
One Wotan.
Wotan. Wotan. Yeah, that's 100 people versus a gorilla.
Will you ever be able to wear the Atlantean sea creature heads, like, as drops? I think that was no, because you didn't want to at the time of Dark Sea.
Yeah, probably not.
Give you passive insanity for doing such a thing, because why would you do it?
Will we ever be able to customize the visuals of armor like their colors? For the armors that are dyeable, you can, but for like existing stuff, probably not. Another question about names. Are you ever gonna add more names to that list, or are you leaving it as is?
I'm probably leaving it because there's already like 2,000 first and last name options.
Yeah.
Who is Wotan? He's the leader of the Arax kingdom that is mainly controlling Vimir Sea.
Some of these people are asking questions, spamming the chat. I've read their question. You guys have answered the question, and they're still spamming the chat with it.
They're not even listening, they're just spamming.
Like that
Would love to
guy
see it.
asking about the fan games. I already asked the question, but he's pinged me like 8 times since then.
Bro's watching the stream on mute.
Either that.
Okay,
or he
wait.
set
This
up, like,
this might be
macro and
this is a
left.
decent one. How exactly does Morden's curse even work? So how does death magic work specifically?
I'm gonna use the bathroom.
It's like
say
a
that?
magic energy with an affinity for killing, but
Yeah.
if the target has like stronger magic energy than the user of death magic, then it simply deals damage. But when used against people who are like similar strength, it can instantly kill. I'm just
The guy's
reading
still asking
friend's
about
chat.
names.
Yeah. Oh well.
Bro, there's like 2.6 thousand names.
Let's see.
What
Someone
inspired you to
asked,
make Arcane Odyssey? Well, at first I just wanted to make World of Magic be on islands with ships, and then it became like a whole revamped thing, and then the story got complicated, and here we are.
someone asked, is it completely impossible to make use of spirit energy without a blessing or spirit weapons, or could it be used in minor applications?
Yeah, if you can't, or if you're not special in the way that the player is, you can't use spirit energy at all if you don't have a spirit weapon.
And if you
Like
don't have magic,
you can't even imbue it if you don't have a spirit weapon with you.
you can still use magic energy if you don't have magic, but it'd basically be like a watered down version called aura. Just raw energy, which has
Yeah,
no
that's
capacity for
what
enchant.
like warriors and fighting styles use. Like that's still magic energy, it's just like less strong, I guess. It's more so like an aura.
Will the community be able to commission and get characters added as NPCs? Probably not. I think most cases of those would probably be immersion breaking, but also that sets a weird precedent for others, and I'm not sure how to do that without it just being unfair or in a way, I guess.
Greedy.
Is Sensing coming in full release? Yeah, I'm adding it soon actually. Will there be another Fort Castrum type of fight? Yeah, there will be a new raidable fort in each sea.
Current one is Fort Montu.
Will you add geese to the game?
Oh,
Probably not. I don't know.
I think we'd add ducks before geese.
Would someone's asking, would you ever make it so like a group prison break type thing is like, I guess, encouraged versus like people getting out of jail like immediately, like making it hard to break people out, I guess.
Maybe in the future, like as the player gets stronger, I'll make it harder to break them out or something.
Someone asked for news on the clam set.
The clam set.
Someone said, are dragons sentient in this universe, or are they just like animals?
Dragons are sentient. Like, they have intelligence in this verse. Like some of them can use
Yeah.
magic. The older ones can even like talk in English like telepathically, but the younger dragons don't really speak English anymore because like dragons don't interact with humans as much as they did.
Will the clan flagship be added soon? Probably not soon.
We'll
Someone else.
see. I did want to do my clan changes soon, like adding guilds and stuff, but I don't know if that included the flagship stuff.
Two questions for you. One, do all the C clusters have names, or are they just kind of like the assorted non-visiting ones?
We don't have names for the like. There's one unnamed one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think the other one we have like a placeholder name, or did we solidify it?
What, the dragon one?
Yeah,
Or
did we
the
solidify that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
I forget.
And then the second question was regarding the dragon cluster. Would it be like randomly found in the like the epicenters like in the Dark Sea, or would there be like a way to get there?
I'm thinking it would be like a teleport you can find in the Dark Sea that would like teleport you into a different verse, like the like how the Bronze Sea and Nimbus Sea are separate.
Gotcha.
A tester asked, are there skilled warriors and fighting style users who can absorb magic energy from the environment directly into gems or themselves? And the answer, not from the environment, but because metals and gems are like creations of the gods, like Hades, you can store magic energy in them, and that's how a lot of the stronger fighting style and weapon users like can keep pace with mages, is they store energy and gems so that they can like call from it during fights. So like a lot of the higher level weapons and stuff later in the game will have like gems embedded in them.
Is Vanishing and Powder Fist the only two fighting styles being added in full release?
Probably, yeah.
Will you ever add an ironclad ship type? And if so, what update will it be planned for? I don't know if we'll ever do like a ship type that's explicitly an ironclad, but I think armor may get to a point to where it's like considered an ironclad ship, because an ironclad is just a ship that's coated in metal.
Yeah, maybe the Thorn Empire would have like steamships. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they would. Because they're pretty close to it. They're kind of steampunkish, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're kind of like on the edge of an industrial revolution, I would say.
Yeah, that's right. I think they might be either just reaching or about to reach the steam engine.
Is Redwake, are the people of Redwake related to the Carax people? Not necessarily, but both people probably stemmed from like Norway-ish before the fracture.
Yeah, Scandinavia, Norway, Germanic tribes, that kind of European northern style.
Someone was asking about like, is there like a place where the Grand Navy has like a main base? If you want to like talk about the Grand Navy lore a little bit.
Yeah, I think their main base would just be at their capital island, which would be in the Chimera Sea.
Where's their supermax, by the way? I forget which sea.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I do not know. I think maybe fourth, but I don't know.
How many gods are there, and are they based on Greek mythology? Yes. Like, all of the gods and mythology in this game is Greek.
Someone was asking, and he's asked like 100 times, will you meet like other people who were like, I guess, victims of the Order, like during the story?
Kind of. Yeah, I'd say yeah. In a way, you will.
How do you pronounce?
Will we be able to reverse our
Modifiers?
ships?
Hmm.
Someone asked if we'll be able to reverse our ships. How do you do that?
Would have to add like an oar rowing animation or something.
Yeah, like your crew to. That'd be
Maybe
hilarious.
someday.
Your crew to get the long oars and just row backwards.
When are Arcanium weapons getting added? I don't know. There's too many things planned.
Let's take 5 more questions.
Yeah, we're
Make 'em
over the
good, yeah,
4-hour mark now.
How exactly will legendary ship battles work? It would probably be just like the legendary ship spawns in the sea. Maybe there'd be like a global chat message, and you'd have to defeat their ship and then defeat the boss NPC on the ship to get the drops and rewards. And their legendary ship would probably have like unique abilities it uses besides just mortars and cannons.
Yeah.
Are we getting the Averil Divine Shower attack back?
That was peak.
That was terrifying.
It was actually fire. I like the Trignos the best. Magma Beast and
Yeah.
the Borealis heavy shot.
Will the Red Council ever be expanded on? Yeah.
Yeah.
We
have their leaders planned and stuff.
I will just say, since it sounds like we're gonna start winding down soon-ish, almost all of the questions I'm seeing on Discord right now have been answered, so if you don't get your question answered, just like rewatch it from the start if you missed it, because a lot of this was answered.
Wait, Tech, check friends chat. Look at this NPC message that I wrote. That's one of the Centurions who you do a quest for. He sends you that.
To the Riven Realm. Yeah.
Bro sent me 30 oranges. Peak.
Random Sea of Thieves crate. 30 bananas.
Will you add a bank? Yes.
Yeah, 4 more questions. From Galaga until we're done.
Let's see.
Like good ones. Like we'll probably answer like ones that we see, but like good questions are on you.
Can you explain the new energy system? So basically hunger and energy were like combined into one thing. So to replenish your energy, you can't charge anymore, you have to eat. And using spells and stuff still takes energy. But because
it's
like
drastically reduced.
Yeah, your max energy still scales with level, so you have to eat a lot more generally.
Like for example, my leap spell costs only 1 energy to use.
Yeah. This isn't a good one, but will there be a 4th of July event again? Probably not, right?
Probably not, yeah. I mainly did that one as like a tester for seasonal items. It's kind of weird to have like a country-specific event.
I think, if anything, we'd maybe do like a festival.
I was gonna
like
say maybe
regarding
a firework festival could go hard.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Either that or Sharkara. I'd be down to do Sharkara soon.
Alright, we talked about that in the group chat that can't be named.
Would you be able to capture the ships you board to add them to your fleet? Yeah, that's how that would work.
Is Tucker really dead? How do we tell him?
Yeah.
Yes, bro. If you go back to his grave,
he's like a skeleton now.
You can actually see his body rot more.
Yeah, like if you go make a new file and like destroy Tucker's grave every like 10 story parts or so, you can actually see it progressively rot.
Will that weigh on Morden? Of course it will.
Will there ever be like a custom battle theme when you're fighting other players? Do they mean like with sensing or whatever, like when there's a power gap or something maybe?
Sure. That could be cool, but I mean, I don't know. Because like if you're fighting a player with a level gap that high, like you're
You're
gonna
not
hear
hearing
like
the
You won't be
song.
playing long.
Yeah, you're gonna hear 5 seconds of the theme.
Probably just be like a chase theme or something.
To the guy asking about Hecate essence, go back to like the start of the stream. There were a bunch of questions about that.
Will there be other mythical creatures in the Dark Sea, like Cyclops, Griffins? Yeah, eventually I want to add like as many mythical creatures as I can to the Dark Sea. That'd be really cool.
Will players ever be able to supercharge attacks like how NPCs can?
Mm,
Maybe for ultimates
I
that
don't
could
know.
be cool.
Yeah, I was gonna revamp Ultimate visuals and stuff to be more like that.
Is there a sea in the War Seas that has no Navy influence at all?
The Marauding Sea, pretty much.
The 12 Greek gods, will you be using Hestia or Dionysus? Both. I'll let you think about that.
Will the story ever have the player backtrack to past seas, or is it only gonna like move forward?
Yeah, actually. You're gonna go back to the Bronze Sea after Nimbus before going to Vimir. How do we get
Something
our
has happened.
second awakening? It won't be as like grand as the first awakening because your player kind of goes through a bunch of hardship and just gets it on their own.
It's kind of how it has to be for warriors of that caliber too. They can't really just go through a specific thing and get their second awakening. They just have to experience.
Oh, I saw that's not a terrible idea. Someone said that if we did like the firework event thing, maybe do it for the anniversary of AO, like launch like in February.
I'd be interested in something like that.
But yeah, I think especially because we got the whole team for doing events now, I think doing an anniversary type thing and like more of like the in-game like holidays and stuff, having like events for those could be sick.
Will the Peacekeeper be an AO in any way? Or no? Like, be in it? Like, part of the story? Probably not. Oh, I missed
We
Peacekeeper
fixed
too.
console shift lock. I don't even know how. I don't even own a console to like bug fix that.
That's a Roblox issue.
Any other quality of life features plan? A ton. I literally have like a 23-page Google Doc of my plans for this game.
Drop it in the stream chat.
I'm interested in about the large chunk taken out of the Earth concept in the lore document. Will we ever get to see those areas while sailing in the Dark Sea? Yes, the epicenter is there. You can find it.
How do we tell him?
Left it all in that one place.
There's not much there for now. It's kind of just like a sight to see.
Yeah, it's basically just a marker for what it will be.
Someone said, are there any plans in the future to like deflate like the stats armors give, or are they just gonna keep giving like more and more diminishing returns?
That's not really how it works. Like the formulas and stuff. Like, it's not. How do I explain it? Like, if we doubled the level cap, it doesn't mean that the like attack size would double because of the way the formula works. Like, I don't know.
Tech, this one's for you. The people want more riddles about the future of AO.
I have a final one prepared that will release near full release. People were able to solve my first 3. I don't know how, but I have a final one releasing around full release, so keep an eye on that.
When will Chapter 9 be started? Let me see my to-do list.
Making me excited, actually.
Someone's
Chapter
asking
9.
how close full release is to the end of Nimbus. It's like pretty close, right?
Yeah, it's like 3/4.
Yeah, we only have 3 or so chapters after the ideal place we'd get to.
It might be like another month before I start the next chapter. Maybe less. The next 2 chapters or so are a lot shorter though, because they're mainly like combat stuff.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot less like time in development because we don't have to build High Hall.
Yeah, it'll be nice for the rest of Nimbus C, because like the Nimbus C so far, I've had to build like Samaria, all of Sky Hall, but now the rest of the islands you go to are kind of just like smaller and like boss focused.
Someone's asking how many sea curses are within like the Grand Navy. Like maybe I guess what their like star level would be if you did it like in terms of that.
I think they're like above average in terms of curse power. Yeah, they are. Is the AOMC based off of Odysseus? Not really.
Would they even have a good comparison? I don't
Is
know.
vampirism still planned? Yeah.
Kind of. I think it'll be different by the time we get there. It'll
Yeah.
like differently styled, same concept.
Someone
So-
keeps asking, what is the mysterious entity? I assume you mean the aberration that Real Hendrix talks about. That's.
Oh, don't go in there.
Yeah, that's like a
go there.
spoiler.
Oh, just don't go in
They
that
might
direction.
also be
Just-
talking
you'll be
about the Mariah Carey NPC in the Yuletide event.
Oh. Bro thinks
Underneath,
that's a part of the lore.
underneath the Toy Maker Island, if you swam all the way under, there's like a tiny crack that you could swim into the core of the island with her like inside an ice cube with the prompt, and it was just like water drops coming off it.
She's unfreezing. She's
Why
defrosting.
isn't the fleet system for clans? I think it's just better for it to be personal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like gatekeeping
Could be it.
features behind clans.
Plus,
I mean, I
there's gonna be,
say
like,
that
the
when the building system exists, but
There's also going to be the
Yes.
that like flagship thing too, right? So
Yeah, so they'll get something like special and unique for
they'll
them.
get shit, just not the fleet system. Will you add different endings to AO, or is it all gonna like culminate the same way?
no. I don't think the story will ever branch off all that much, just because like it's gonna take so many years to finish already that like adding even more paths would be insane.
Yeah, I think we're pretty set on the ending as well and how it wraps up. I think it's beautiful, and I think making it different or changing it to be something opposite would change the whole narrative. And I don't.
Can you guys hear
We
that?
need
from
to do
my
that.
mic?
The cops.
The police, yes, finally coming for you, huh?
Bro, can you hear that every time they go by?
No, I only heard it for the first time just now.
Oh, alright. Because, yeah, they come by, like, super often in the city.
How were the Jura Survey able to give news instantly everywhere, including the Dark Sea? They use birds.
Easily.
But the Dark Sea, not really. They don't canonically deliver to a place
Tua.
of.
Tua.
Oh God.
Will there be more content in the Dark Sea in full release? Not a lot, because we're saving a lot of it for the Dark Sea expansion after Nimbus C, but there will be, like, new animals to hunt and stuff there. And hopefully dragons, if those get done in time.
I challenge y'all to beat the Omen. I challenge y'all. Good luck. You're not going to be able to.
It has
That's
over
okay.
100,000 HP.
2,000
gonna
damage
say.
of swing. Just keep in mind, you're not going to be able to, but I challenge you to.
I think it is doable if you did it with, like, a fleet of players with max beast damage resistance, maybe.
Can you only use
Yeah.
your, like, magic attacks on them, or can your like ship's cannons work on them too?
I don't think cannons work on it, but I need to add that.
That'd be sick.
It makes sense for cannons to be able to hit something that big.
Someone asked what anime is Arcane Odyssey based off of. I mainly base like the theming and stuff around like A Song of Ice and Fire, like Elden Ring, like kind of darker stuff. Like One Piece used to be the inspiration back in like Arcane Adventures, but I kind of took it a little more like of a serious route. You can see
Yeah.
all the
We have-
inspirations and stuff on the Trello. I have like a
Same
list
page.
of them.
Bro, the Knicks are selling.
Is the exiled canon? Not anymore. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that reminds
Will
me.
King
this is a
David
question-
Silver the Third return? No.
No, literally,
so
this was a
sorry.
question I saw at the very beginning of their stream. They were asking if you'd ever go back to like write stuff about Magius, like if it was that just like a cooked done book.
Magius
It'd
isn't
be
even
different.
canon anymore. I don't
Yeah.
think.
If we were to ever revisit what would happen on the PK side of things, it would be different, but it would be as benevolent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't even think much about like the Seven Seas side of things because like a whole lot of stuff would need rewritten about the AA story because like there just wasn't much going on in terms of like compared to AO. Like there wasn't any kingdoms or like other plots.
To the person who asked if the prosthetic ear seasonal will ever change to be your skin color, that was originally the idea, but that did not have time because by the end of the Yuletide event, I was working like 20 hours a day on the event, like for like a week and a half straight. Like I would go to bed at 4 a.m., get up at like 8, and then work all day, nonstop. It was so grim.
Was. It'll be. They're coming back.
I slept for like a week straight after that event was done. Are we eventually gonna see King Nero?
Maybe. He wasn't confirmed
know.
to be alive or dead yet.
I don't really have a whole lot of plans with him, just of what he's
Does
done
Arcane
previously.
Odyssey have inspiration from Assassin's Creed Black Flag? Yes.
For people asking
That's
about the
where the-
inspirations, it's all on the Trello.
Yeah.
There's a whole
That's
card.
where
The-
like
this
the
Gallagher's-
mortars idea came from, the ship designs, the rams,
The parkour thingy.
This is the final question,
diving
boys.
points.
Gallagher's on his last one. King Gallagher, with your best question.
Oh brother, they've
Where?
been King and
Just
Gallagher.
King Gallagher.
been
Only
famous.
King Gallagher.
Bro, did you hear what I said before? Like an hour and a half ago, one of the testers posted a picture and it was like my pings in all of the channels before and after today. There was like a
Yeah, it's like
12,000
3,000.
ping difference.
Oh, 12,000.
Let's see. The final question. This is the first one I saw when I opened Discord up. 1 Martin versus 100 Peacekeepers. Who's winning?
Who the hell is Martin?
It's
We're
with
talking about that
Puppy.
one
It's
bugged
that one
Atlantean with like
Atlantean from
100,000 level or
from when
whatever.
the Dark Sea dropped, like level 900,000 Atlantean eel motherfucker.
Bro could literally solo the world.
Alright, let me find a real question now.
Are we going to fight a curse user? Yes. Many.
Since FPS was mentioned, do you think Clan Wars, Overworld, PvP, etc. will also play fairly well? I think so. I think they'll play far better than they
Yeah,
have
I think
previously.
Clan Wars and Naval Wars will be really performant because it's just like when you do Clan and Naval Wars, you're just on an empty sea in Elysium, so like there's nothing else going on at all.
Oh, I saw someone asking if there'd ever be something like related to like hunting like sea monsters or whatever for like as like a like for reward at Red Wake. Like if you could get like a sea monster like I guess, bounty or something.
I've been thinking of a way to do that, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
I think,
like sea monster bounties.
Crimson the
Be
Tester
interested,
wrote
but-
like a giant proposal about it somewhere. If you ask him, he might have a bunch of details for it.
Will Sunken Warrior / Iron be endgame armor? I don't know if it would be like in meta, but yeah, you can upgrade it indefinitely. Like till the end of the game, whatever the level cap will be.
One of the Patreon people asked about Impact Fist.
Yeah, that would probably be a
Return.
thing. Just definitely not like it was in AA.
Yeah, just not how it was.
Someone else asked if how are oracles going to be able to progress through the story because most players only get to use the Eagle Patrimony. One of the new bosses is like level like 50, right?
Yeah.
So like they're not too hard to beat.
Like one of the spirit weapon users is literally like a level 40 bandit mini boss that only uses like
sailboat with
2
like,
attacks.
No cannons, yeah. There's
then there's
like
also
a good
Dusk,
range
which is level 90, I believe.
Yeah, plus I added a new feature today where you can find spirit right books, which when you read them, it gives you a bunch of random spirit rights that you can like put on the patrimony if you wanted.
I'll be right back.
They want us to switch location. I don't know where we are in Sky Hall. I've never explored it. Is there like a good view we could get
Which
of the
location?
whole thing?
I mean, aren't
like
we
a
gonna
final
end
location?
soon anyway?
Yeah.
Take us to a Nanos.
I always said
Let's
that was
close
the
out.
last question.
Let's close at a Nanos,
We'll
and
give
then
them a
we'll
new
dip.
view at least.
Oh wait, the library?
Will our rival
yeah, that's
ever
my favorite.
hunt us down? Yes.
I gotta go fly there then, 1 second.
Bye.
Bro said fly.
Oh,
Got no
he's
clip
got
outta here.
We can show him the skill. What kind of jutsu is he doing?
It looked like bro was riding an invisible broomstick.
Yeah, it looked like he fucking like Superman flew away.
The animation's messed up right now. It's on the wrong hand, so it looks like really weird.
This is a good question. I think this has been asked a bunch. Will you ever re-add like a setting or something to make it like World of Magic, where a character's like name shows instead of their player name, like they swap locations?
Yeah, I have that plan.
Will sand and crystal magic be able to mutate into gravity? Who knows, bro?
Yeah, I have no idea what the exact mutations would be.
Will the Trello be cleaned up to remove items that are not planned anymore? Maybe after full release, we could all help clean it out for anything.
You have some additions that I wanna.
I'm underwater.
Oh, I'm
underwater.
Oh, I don't think it loaded. It's like sent us down, bro. What the hell?
This is the
It's
end
over.
for
I
me?
should have anchored us.
I'm at the bottom of the sea.
Bro, I just swam through the fucking ocean floor. Where
Oh my
are
God.
we, bro?
I think we're like right under where
What are
it
all
would
these
have been.
sharks and shit? Whoa, why are there so many
But
fish?
dude, I'm just gonna
I'm out of
reset
stamina.
and then teleport us back. Oops.
You got stamina.
Why are there so
That's
many
still the-
fish? Is that a new thing?
Yeah.
Thanks for your ship, VTech, loser.
I don't know why I'm not sinking. I have 0 stamina, but I'm staying afloat. Is that like a new thing? Or did I just get lucky?
taking damage
Wait,
from
one
like stamina
second.
drain.
Bro saved my life.
Oh, this is
I was
the
at
memorial.
like 10% air.
Wait,
Is there
okay,
somewhere
I'll
we
go
can
back down
walk
to
from
Enos
here?
just 1 second.
Oh, we could just walk to it, can't we?
Just
We'd
sit
have
here.
to.
Alright. Bro's got the
Okay.
devil fruit. That's
We can close it here
Buggy's,
if y'all
that's Buggy's devil fruit right there, bro.
It does look like a devil fruit. Guys, we added devil fruits to the game.
3,000 Robux.
Is magic genetic?
Not really. If you were born from a
Can,
mage, you have a
but-
higher chance of being able to use magic, but it's not guaranteed.
Yes.
We're coming up.
Oh, bro, there's someone in the chat took it serious about devil fruits.
It's
Oh no,
over.
we did, guys. Come on, we didn't actually add devil fruits for 3,000 Robux. Come on,
I know. It's 9,999.
it's Arcane Odyssey.
Are there any new fishing
You have a
rods you're
quick
gonna
snack.
add?
I don't know. Probably not for full release.
Are you gonna add poop magic?
Alright, bro, let's just end the stream.
Wrap it up.
Oh,
I have some soup.
Well, this is a Nanos. This is where we will be closing out stream. This is where
I don't know
we
why I
all
have
things
this.
magic.
bro, is that fire?
Take
One of the most
Text.
grand.
Try some soup.
Oh, we can't. We're not in a party.
Meat party.
Is there a hotkey for the
yeah.
inbox?
Oh, don't even worry.
L.
I
Join
can't.
after. It's L to
Game
open the
tuned.
inbox.
Yeah, but you can see on the left now the
Go ahead.
like party colors or whatever.
Drink from the soup.
I
Go
could
ahead.
drink from the soup.
Hey, I'm
We
standing
can't.
in this shit, bro. I could slip after I put my feet in it. But Ananos is where Skyhall researches all things magic. Where people go. I'd like to thank y'all
What is that? Oh,
joining us and asking us questions. I'd also like to express my appreciation and I guess love. I thank all of y'all for being as patient and as passionate about the game as y'all are. We really love this, and it's amazing for us to do, and we're just very happy that y'all are here with us sharing this experience. What's to say?
I don't know. I'm pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Make sure to.
But you that's
Huh?
glides off into the distance. There he goes.
y'all don't even have a glider.
Bro's headed out. Oh nah.
This guy's just
Bro
custom.
missed every shot.
All right. Well, is that it? Do I pull the plug?
Oh, I'm gonna die.
All right.
I will see y'all later. Thank y'all so much for joining.
Bye. If you
Yeah,
don't get
peace,
your
y'all.
question answered,
Thanks for tuning in.
rewatch. We'll probably do this again at some point.
Yeah, we will. I'd like to do these more frequently, honestly.
Yeah, same.
All right.